Okay, hi everybody, welcome back, So hopefully this video is not too long because we were just here a couple of minutes ago. But I wanted to talk about briefly, like very briefly, I wanted to talk about the Africans in Ukraine situation. And I don't want to talk about the Ukraine versus Russia situation itself because I don't really care. I wanted to specifically talk about, I think, the hypocrisy that some of these Africans are having. They're okay. Some of these Africans are acting brand new. They're complaining that their governments are not helping them. They're stranded in Ukraine and that their government is not helping them. And I'm just like, if you're an international student in Europe, what does Nigeria, what does Ghana, what do any of these governments have to do for you? Yes, you're still a citizen of the country that you came from, right? But you're telling me that these governments have to take money out of the take money out of people who are currently in their country right now to deal with you. Is that really logical? And this is the thing, right? This is not the first time that something like this has happened. During the beginning of the pandemic, what happened in China? People were kicking Africans out of China, putting them on the street, telling them they can't use the hospitals. So I'm not understanding why these Africans haven't learned that when you travel, like you're on your own. So I'm really not understanding what the whole I'm not saying that they shouldn't come on here and complain, but when they're here talking about, oh, the ministers are not doing anything, they're just leaving us. Isn't that what you expect? Like I'm not sure what these people were expecting. Now they're here doing countless videos of, oh, Ukraine is so racist. They don't like us. Didn't you know that already when you were there? How come it's now that you're realizing that that country is racist and they don't like you? Is that and to be honest, I know a lot of them knew this already, but they didn't care because they're getting their papers, right? They're getting their graduation letters, they're getting their jobs, so they didn't care. But now that the country is in a disarray, everybody's supposed to care about your problem. Like, hey, listen, the world is a cold world. I'm sorry you're experiencing what you're experiencing, but did, I don't understand what they want some of us to do about this. The government in your own home country treats regular people bad on average, not all the time, but on average, they treat your own regular people bad. What makes you think that they're going to care about you that you left now? At all. And to be honest, I have to this issue I have to blame some of the Africans for this, right? Because we let other people come to our countries. We treat them like gods. We treat them like, we call them oyibos, we call them obronis, we kiss them, we call them beautiful, or we say that their language is beautiful. We treat them like kings when they come to our countries. But then when we go to theirs, they don't treat us like kings, and then we turn around and go like, "Oh, it's not fair. We're all human beings. Why don't they like me?" You let somebody go to your country, treat your people disgustingly. They don't follow the rules. They steal your resources. But then when you go to their country and they treat you like trash, then you want to come and be like, "Oh, I can't believe they're doing this to me. This isn't fair." Are you now realizing that things aren't fair? Why would people even treat you fair and treat you equally when you don't value yourself? You value foreigners more than you value your own in your own country. Not all the time, but many do. And now you want to complain that the world isn't fair. Didn't you already know that? And this is not all Africans, by the way, because the Egyptians and the Moroccans, they got their people. right? So the Egyptians and Moroccans, when the Egyptian government and the Moroccan government saw that the situation in Ukraine was bad, they were quick to eject their people. But how come the other African countries now want to act brand new? They want to act like they have PTSD, amnesia, like they don't know what's happening. How come they're doing that? We're gonna again, I don't want it to seem like it's because in the other comment section, someone was saying I'm making fun of the Africans that are stuck there. I hate that. I don't hate them. I'm not making fun of them. But I'm also wondering, didn't you already know this? How easily do you guys forget? People are here complaining about the Ukrainians because they're putting their people first. Most countries put their own people first. So I don't understand why that's breaking news. I don't understand why people are getting so offended. Oh, the Ukrainians are saying that, oh, it's only white people first, white Ukrainian nationals first. What are they supposed to say? Those are the citizens of their country. Why would they not put the citizens of their country first? I don't understand what's so. See, maybe I'm just very insensitive, but I really don't understand what's so hard to believe about this. That's just what I'm saying. That's just what I'm saying. So anyway, let me play the first clip because these people have been doing lives about this the whole day. So let me play the first clip. How do you guys feel about this? Again, I'm not saying that I don't care about Africans being mistreated, but this is not the first time that Africans have been mistreated in the West, okay? Let's get that clear. This is not the first time. All the other times, these African governments did nothing about it. So why am I now going to expect that automatically these African governments are going to do something about it? I just
There is some developments happening right now in the Ukraine. A Nigerian student is believed to be boarding a train at the moment. It's about to leave, heading to Hungary. Let's take you there to that in a moment. But of course, Mpo, there's quite a number of African students we know are in the Ukraine at the moment, trying to get out. Nigeria, of course, have about 4,000 African students, last I checked, that are in the Ukraine. It's quite something, especially for them trying to get back or get to safety, first of all.
Absolutely, especially considering the survival tactics that they've had to put in place. I mean, we've been speaking to a lot of African students in Ukraine, speaking about some of the big challenges. Of course, the priority is to get out of the country. And of course, we do now, having explored the dynamics on the ground, Michael, who is the student who is a Nigerian trying to get out of Ukraine, has been speaking about his frustrations in that country and amid the tensions that are underway. In fact, we will be speaking to him in a moment. He, in fact, joins us now. Michael, very good morning to you. How are you feeling as this moment is happening?
Well, I'm actually very, very tense right now, and we're just very skeptical here because we don't know what's going to happen. And like the situation here is just really, really horrible, and we're all just finding a way out. That's all we're trying to do. As you can see, I'm actually at the train station in a city called Lviv in Ukraine, and we're trying to board a train right now with a lot of African students here, as you can see. I'm with my friend Wilfred. Wilfred, say hi. Hi. He's also Nigerian, and Neil. Yeah. And he's also Nigerian too. With a couple of ladies too. Look at them, beautiful ladies. So we can't lose all these people. Like, you guys really have to come and help us because we don't know. We're trying to get across the border. You have to send all the support you can, any way you can. If it's maybe monetary, if it's maybe a.
Okay, from what I'm understanding, right, is now the airport is actually closed. Unless I'm mistaken, the airport is closed. So the only way that you can leave the country is if you board the train, right? To go to a different country, to go to a different border. So everybody is at the train station because everybody is trying to leave. Now the issue here is they're saying that they're not letting them leave the train station because they're putting their people first. I don't like that, but I understand it. I mean, I'm just being honest here. I don't like that situation, but I understand it. Like, the airport is not closed, the train is the only way to leave. Obviously, there's going to be an overboard of the system. Obviously. I've noticed that a lot of the people that are having these issues are the Africans that are not citizens, or the Africans that don't have their stay there. Because the Africans that have their stay there and are citizens are actually expected to fight for the country. So if you're an African, and in this case, an African man, and you have your Ukrainian citizenship, you technically are Ukrainian. So you have to stay there and fight. Like, that's common sense. Like, that's what you signed up for. Is it not? Okay, but I guess that situation doesn't apply to this particular situation, which people are saying that they're stuck in the train stations and that they can't move. And that is what self-preservation is. This is why Africans need to do this in their own countries, where we don't let everybody come and do whatever they want. We have to treat everybody else with the same energy that they treat us. But instead of Africans doing that, they will not do that. They'll go to someone else's country and expect that someone else sees them as a human being, treats them like a king just because they're a human being. The world doesn't work that way, but it's only Africans that think that way.
Flight or anything, because we're all trying to go to Hungary right now, and from Hungary we're trying to move out of here. That's all we're trying to do.
Michael, we've seen on social media there are allegations that Ukrainian citizens are being prioritized on these trains to get out of the city, out of the country. Is that indeed the case where...
Wow, so if a country prioritizes their own citizens to leave the country at a time of war, how is that unbelievable? That's what I'm asking. How is that unbelievable?
African nationals are being pulled off in a place to give the Ukrainian citizens a spot?
Exactly. Actually, we are actually experiencing a lot of racism, especially at the Polish border, which is why most of us are actually choosing to go to Hungary right now, because like at the Polish border, they're actually giving priorities only to women and children of Ukrainian origin. Like those of African origin, they are not even helping us at all, literally, and it's absolutely horrible. My friend was here earlier, he was waiting here for like 5 hours. There was a train heading to Poland, and they refused him entry. Take any blacks. They only took the women and children of Ukrainian origin, and that's it. And right now, we're just trying to get on the next train that's probably going to Uzhgorod, so we can go to either Slovakia or Hungary. That's the only option right now. But what we're experiencing here is just absolutely horrible, and you guys have to put the word out there because we need to leave this place as soon as possible.
And in terms of just general survival, I mean, obviously, as you fleeing a dangerous situation, you need to prioritize, your supplies. I mean, what are you eating? What is in your bag? And how are you moving around?
I haven't eaten in 2 days. Look, I fled my city just like yesterday in the morning because like I heard there was going to be an attack. And as I'm talking to you right now, they're actually attacking my city, and my city is like under serious attack. And I just left just with my emergency suitcase, and that's it, my documents, and that's it. I didn't even have time to take anything else. Nothing at all, just my international passport, my documentation, and that's all. We don't have time to even think of food. All we're trying to do is just to survive. That's all we're trying to do.
Michael, do you know if any students or any Africans have been at all injured during this conflict?
I have no idea if any Africans have been injured. I don't know anything about that. Like all Africans have gone missing. There were some Africans. You say some Africans have gone missing.
Yeah, there are some Africans that have gone missing. The thing is, because no one is getting help from anywhere, and there are so many people stranded, we're just trying to do.
Okay, and to put things into perspective, countries that care about their people already got their people evacuated 2 to 3 weeks ago. Countries that care about their citizens already acted, but the countries that don't care about their citizens, now their citizens are there relying on the country that is not the country of their origin. Now they're saying Ukraine is being the problem. No. Well, yes, yeah, Ukraine is being a problem to an extent, but Ukraine is not your original problem. The original problem is your country not evacuating you, not caring. That is the problem. The African students are not the only students in Ukraine. They're Indian students. They're students from so many other nationalities that have left a long time ago. Why? Because their government thought about them. But African governments don't care. And this is the result of it. I don't understand why Africans don't understand that you are on your own. You're on your own. Why are people acting like they don't know that many European countries are racist? Why are people acting like they don't know that?
The best we can to get out of this nasty situation.
Are you
We heard
getting
it from
any
him.
sort of assistance from the Nigerian embassy? I mean, we've seen a lot of interaction on that space.
Yeah, they've been sending a lot of information out there, and they're actually providing assistance across various countries. But the major problem is actually leaving Ukraine to go to those countries, because while we're in Ukraine, the airspace is actually blocked and they can't fly in and get us out. So the only option for us to leave here is to fly to, to actually board a train or get a bus, get across the border, and then they can be of help. But to say they can be of help of us in Ukraine right now is just impossible.
And what are your families saying back home in terms of, the communication lines and you updating them? They must be very worried about your livelihood.
I mean, my family is very worried. I'm not going to lie. They're very, very worried. But everyone is worried. But, there's nothing they can do. All they can do is just to send their prayers. And as you can see, their prayers are working. I'm still safe till now. I'm not hurt yet. And I just hope that I can just get across the border and just go home to Abuja and just see them as soon as possible.
Are you able to access financing? Are you able to get to money, ATMs, and perhaps use that to buy things that you might need?
Actually, ATM machines are not working. If you try to withdraw from the ATM, it shows error. So it's not working. ATM machines are not working at all. And most of the international transfers are not actually working. The only way you can actually have your money, if you have maybe money in cryptocurrency, then I think it's still working for you. Or PayPal, or maybe TransferWise or something. But other than that, Ukrainian banks, most of them are already shut down. I think there was a cyber attack on a lot of Ukrainian banks. And secondly, there's no place you can exchange money. So if you don't have money either in dollars or in euros, you're going to be stuck, literally.
Michael, from where you're standing now, as we speak, and you tell us exactly what's happening there, are you confident that you will be able to get across? Is it looking good from where you're standing in terms of really just getting across?
I mean, I don't know. On a scale of 1 to 10, I just want to be optimistic, and I'm going to give it a 6 over 10 right now. That's all I'm going to say. I can't really give you a higher rating for now.
Very well. All the best to you as we leave that conversation. Nigerian students and amongst other African students stuck, hoping to leave Ukraine. That was Michael Wayne, who is optimistic, describing the situation on the ground. It really is a survival mode that one needs to tap into, prioritizing what he needs to travel with, traveling light. And, of course, I suppose we will go back now continue with the developments here. Michael, if I can just ask you to show us, if you can, just exactly what is happening in that queue and, the number of people gathered there. We're getting a close look at how many people are hoping to leave there. A lot of them Africans stuck in Ukraine, pleading for help to exit the country amid the tensions and the Russian attacks.
Michael, are any of the passengers there already boarding the train? Do you have some sort of indication that you'll be getting on at least in the next couple of moments? I think we have just lost comms to Michael, but those are live visuals from the Ukraine. Michael Wayne, as well as a number of Nigerian students, they're trying to get over the border to Hungary, and he's just detailing his experiences to us, saying that they do believe that there are a number of African students that have gone missing. Of course, no confirmed reports on that, though. Michael Wayne, they will hopefully be able to check in with him a little bit later on throughout the show and just keep tabs on their travels and whether they are able to get out of the country into Hungary and into a plane, hopefully back to Nigeria. Right, right.
I don't blame them. This is not their fault. This is not their fault, but at the same time, I don't like the excuses, right? Like I don't like the whole all of a sudden they don't understand this thing. Again, there are countless examples in Germany, Italy, so many other countries, but let's use the most recent example that I think went viral. The COVID-19 situation that happened in China. We saw how they treated us in that country. We saw how we were left on our own. We saw how they didn't care, but we didn't learn from that. Now in 2022, we want to act brand new. There's a war going on in someone's country, and you think you're a priority? Am I missing something here? There's a war going on in someone else's country. They are literally training all the men. They're literally in panic mode, and you're here asking why you're not a priority? What? I seriously must be missing something here. Now, the title, I'm not gonna lie, was a bit of a clickbait because I'm not saying I don't care, but the question was who cares? Because clearly the Ghanaian, Nigerian, whoever ministers clearly don't care, right? Clearly the Ukrainian government doesn't care either. So who actually cares? Nobody cares. That's the answer. Nobody actually cares. But what I don't understand is why they're shocked and surprised that nobody cares. Did you not know that already? The situation in Ukraine cannot even be compared to situations in other countries where there's more multiculturalism. It can't. You cannot compare the situation to a situation in the US. You cannot compare the situation to a situation in the UK. It's completely different. Last time I checked, they said that there's less than 20,000 African students over there. I don't know who would be the professionals. I don't know who would be naturalized, but in terms of the student community, there's less than 20,000 people there. Is that a significant population? I don't think so. Anyway, I like I don't know what to say about this topic. They're here giving Ukraine so much pressure. Ukraine doesn't owe you anything. Ukraine does not owe you anything. You are in their country going to school. They granted you a visa to go to their country. They don't owe you much, actually. I mean, okay, fine. If someone's going to get mad at me and say that I'm being mean for saying that, I'll be mean all day. Ukraine doesn't owe Africans anything. Vice versa, right? But this is the part that Africans don't understand. They don't understand that. They'll be like, "Oh, okay, well, they're nice. They didn't do anything to us, so let's be nice to them." They're not looking at it from that perspective. They don't care. But see, that's your problem. You care too much, and they don't care at all. And then when they show you that they don't care, then you want to cry and say, "Oh, this is not fair. This is racism. This is inequality." And that's why they'll continue to do things like this because you do not care. Somebody's there somebody did a live stream saying that they're calling the Nigerian they're calling the Nigerian minister. What's the Nigerian minister gonna do? When we were stuck in China, what did the Nigerian minister do? When we were in China trying to go to their hospitals, what did the Nigerian minister do? Nothing. So now you're there talking about, oh, we're gonna call the Nigerian minister. This is not fair. Listen. I listen. I don't. I really just. I'm really. It's really sometimes it's really really hard to really understand the mindset of some people. It's extremely difficult to understand. Let's watch another scenario. This one is more
today on this.
like
Of course, it's just a lot of things going on, especially with you guys over there, in Ukraine. But let's understand what's your name and where are you joining this call from?
Oh, my name is Isaac, and I'm joining from Kiev, Irpin Oblast.
Okay, what's the situation? I mean, obviously we can see that we can't see you very well. So where exactly are you at the moment?
Okay, so right now, in the house where we live, I was initially at the basement, but we have a lot of people there, so I had to excuse myself and just to make this call. But I was asked by the house manager to switch off the lights because we are hearing that the Russian troops are already here. So we don't want to draw any attention right now. So that's it.
Oh, okay, so did you try making your way out of Kiev before
Hello?
you got up? I can hear you. Did you try making your way out of Kiev? And what was the situation when you tried, if indeed you?
Oh yes, I did try. I did try it several times leaving Kiev, but to no avail. Where I am right now, there is no way I can order a taxi, and there is no bus. There's no movement at all. So I and my friends have been trying to see to make way, but it's impossible. We've not been able to leave where we are right now. So we've been here since yesterday.
All right, so like you said, it's you and your friends. How many of you Nigerians are in the building as we speak?
We are seven at the moment. Seven of us.
Okay, have you been able to contact other people, maybe your friends who don't live in the house, maybe neighbors or something like that?
We do have just the 7 Nigerians here. The 7 of us, we are living here. This is where we live. And then we have Ukrainians as well. So we have Ukrainians who joined us yesterday.
All right, so we've been hearing, we've also been having reports of the fact that people get to the border and then they're turned back. Did you experience any of such?
I have friends. I have friends, and I'm keeping in touch with some of them who have been to Lviv and they are heading towards the border. But I've not been able to contact any to know if they've been if they are in Poland right now, because what we are hearing is that when they get to the border, you have to submit your passport and then you'll be allowed to stay for 15 days. And then after 15 days, you will have to return. So probably after now, I will try to get in touch with some of my colleagues and friends to see if they have been able to enter Poland successfully.
All right. We also had reports of racial profiling. Did any of that happen to you?
Oh no, I did not experience such.
Oh, okay, but did you get any reports, or did anybody mention that to you?
Okay, guys, and this is gonna. I'm probably gonna have to fast forward this, right? But I don't want it. Listen, I'm trying to give some Africans tough love here. That's all I'm trying to do. I am not trying to say that I like this situation. I don't. Right? I'm not trying to excuse the racism that Africans are experiencing. Trust me, I'm not. But at the same time, we cannot act like this is just a random situation. This has never happened before. We cannot take the onus from us. When these people come to our countries, they are treated like kings. They are treated like royalty. We do everything for them. When it's the reverse, that doesn't happen. And then we want to turn around and complain and say, oh, that's not fair. Africans need to change, period. Africans need to change. And if you're not going to change and you're going to continue to have people treat you like this, nobody is going to care. As the title mentioned, Africans are stuck in Ukraine now. Who cares? Who cares? Have you seen CNN talk about Africans being stuck in Ukraine? Have you seen BBC talk about, oh, Africans are stuck in... They don't care. This is making me boil because it's so frustrating and it's so disappointing that people are still acting like this. You think going to Ukraine, going to Russia, going to Italy is going to automatically, you're not going to experience anything? And some people want to be upset with me. Whatever, cool. Unsubscribe, bye. Have a nice life. I lived in Europe before, so I'm not speaking from a perspective of somebody who hasn't experienced certain weird things in Europe. I've experienced it. So if you want to be here and glamorize it and think that these things don't happen, that's up to you. But these things happen. What are you going to do when they happen? How are you going to prepare yourself? The airport is closed right now. Obviously, everybody is going to go to the train station. Now you're there saying, oh, we're stranded. We can't board on the trains. They're full. They're full. What more do you want people to do? Our awesome governments, our beautiful governments who are supposed to come and get us, they don't care. We're on our own. What else is there to say?
No, I didn't hear anything like that.
Okay, so again, let me just hold you there for a bit. We have other people joining the conversation at the moment. Again, this is a live channels television chat with Nigerians abroad, some in Ukraine, some in Poland, and also some in Nigeria. We have Dr. Victor Bamishaye, he's joining us from Abuja. We have Dr. Tade Omotosho, he's joining us from Poland, and Timothy Adigbile, who is joining us from Kiev. Timothy, let's get to hear your own experience. Again, just give us a background. What have you experienced so far since all of this brouhaha has started?
Okay, can you hear me very well?
Yes, please, I can hear you.
Okay, so thank you for the opportunity. So, I'm currently in Lviv right now. I'm based in Lviv. And the situation in Ukraine has been quite tense and very tough, especially from people coming from the Eastern Axis and Southern Axis. We in the Western cities like Lviv, Ternopil, and Uzhgorod, they've been kind of relatively calm. But because of the traffic that of people coming into, it's been a bit like frantic. Currently now, students and Nigerians are trying to make their way out of Lviv through the Polish border. But there are several points of crossing, but they are not really letting the Nigerians live through all the points. Currently, there's only one point out of those 7 that is still allowing people to live. That's one challenge. So people that have gone to other points, and you know how far the border is. So they went there and they trekked for maybe 1 hour, 2 hours on getting to the border. Now they could not enter. They could not pass through. So now they're basically like stranded and have to walk back to civilization. And now the issue is that they can't get vehicles to take them back to the city or take them to another border crossing. So it's quite tough and it's quite challenging. And some people have been able to beg good Samaritans to help. But imagine you are in a group of 20, you cannot really get vehicles to take 20 people. So, and you won't want to leave some people behind. And so it's been very tough for them. we have some students and some foreigners that have been able to actually cross to Poland, and they are also waiting to be like, they are also waiting to be taken to the airport and also to be processed. But most of the people didn't want to leave yesterday night. Like now, for example, someone left around maybe 9, 8 p.m. and the person arrived at 6 a.m. They literally walked throughout the whole night just because of the fact that there was a huge traffic. So they walked for about 15 kilometers.
Okay, so most of this video is gonna be saying the same thing, but I guess we'll play other clips, right? Let me put things into perspective. Other African countries, as soon as this was happening, they they sought action. There are more Egyptian and I think Moroccan students than there are other African students in Ukraine. I think there's 8,000 either I think it's Moroccan. 8,000 Moroccan students and maybe 5,000 Egyptian students, right? Something like that. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is Nigerians, West Africans, and other Africans are not the biggest group of international students in Ukraine. It's actually other African students, right? Their governments, as soon as this was happening, their governments were quick to help them. Okay. They were quick to eject them out of the country. They acted fast. Okay. All these other African governments didn't care. Now, when it's too late, when the airport is closed and these people can't even buy tickets to leave, this is not a matter of, oh, I don't have enough money for a plane ticket. The planes are grounded. Now, when it's too late, is now when people want to cry. Oh, I'm stuck. I can't do this. I can't do that. No, 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 no. No. Blame your government. Blame your government first. Blame your government first. Before you sit there, you want to just say Ukrainians are the worst people in the world. Blame your government first. Why are you not doing that? Absolutely ridiculous. And guess what? You know, people want to be like, oh, it's only Africans. No, it's not only Africans. It's other people too. It's other groups of people too. Yes, we're laser focused on Africans because why would we not be laser focused on Africans? But some Indian students were complaining too. Ukraine puts Indian students in hostage like situation at Poland border. There was another report where Indian students were saying, oh, they weren't treated fair. Indian students are being tortured. They don't like none of us. They don't care about any of us. They don't. Indian students are being tortured. Anyways, the plight of Indian students stuck in Ukraine. Now, if we ask why are people still going there, why are people still traveling there, they'll be like, oh, you can't ask that because people have a right to go to whatever country they want to go to. You are correct. You have the right to go to whatever country you go to. You also have the right to experience whatever that country wants to do to you. That's also valid as well. I mean, I there I do have sympathy, but I don't have as much sympathy as I guess some other people do. I'm sorry. Exactly. This is the hard truth. This is the hard truth that people are gonna forever say, oh, we're always the victims. Yeah, I mean, sometimes in this case, in this case, I can't feel that bad for the Africans in Ukraine. I'm so you're in a war. Bad things happen. What else do you want me to say? I what do you want me to say? No, but really, they're stuck, they're stranded. That sucks. What is the rest of us supposed to do about it? Oh, have more news reports? What are we supposed to do? People are saying, okay, we're supposed to gather all our resources so that we could buy them food so that they could survive because they're going through a trying time. I mean, why have those unions, why have those organizations not been set up prior to this? Why was there a lack of planning and now they want to rush everything? And yes, MS Delta guy was asking why are there so many foreigners going to the Ukrainian Russian? It's not just Ukraine and Russia, it's Ukraine, Russia, China, India. They have very, very cheap tuition. So a lot of people go there because it's affordable and you get good quality education. But what people don't talk about is the situation that happens in some of these countries. Granted, I haven't been to Eastern European, but I've been to Europe. I've lived in Europe before. And I told you guys many times this. I experienced more hostility in Europe than I did over here. That's not a secret. Some of the racism, some of the issues that go on in Europe are much I, okay, I can't I'll just say from my personal experience they were much worse. I can't speak for everybody, right? That's what I experienced. So, are you going to deal with it? Are you not? What are you going to do about it at this point?
And on getting there, they had to wait for extra 2 hours on getting there before they could enter and before they could pass through. So in the city, the situation is calm actually. There is no shelling going on in Lviv right now. Everything is calm. There are all the amenities are working. There's food in the stores. You can like go by. But if you're coming from a different city, it's going to be tougher because there aren't places to stay. Hotels, hostels, like accommodations have been booked. So it's basically like once you come, you have to go to the border. And now the border is congested and the border is not letting people pass like very freely. So that's quite frantic. So now the advice to some people in cities that are safe is that they should remain for a while. Let the decongestion happen and they should also still come. But if okay,
I mean, the smartest thing to do during a conflict is to restrict borders. Isn't that the smartest thing to do, or is that just me?
you don't have any choice. You can still come around. But also, like the Nigerian community has been rallying around and trying to see how we can help, how we can relocate people, how we can provide advice. And but there's so much we can do from this side. We also have need help from the other side. And okay, there have been some helps. Like the Nigerians in Poland have actually been very helpful. But we've not really gotten like official assistance from like the Nigerian Commission in Poland and also the embassy in Kiev. They have not been so on top of it as we
That's the problem. The Nigerian embassy is not helping. That's the problem.
would like. So we expect it being
Oh, not just Nigerian, but I mean in this case, the African embassies are not helping. That's the problem.
the Nigerian embassy, but they could do better. Because if your country is at the border crossing, it will help to make things quite faster. You're muted.
Any contacts? Has there been any contacts, with the embassy so far?
Okay, yeah, there have been contacts severally. Some people have been designated to speak with them and relay information back, but like now, the embassy in Kyiv, they can't do anything to help. The only thing they've said so far is that remain calm.
Hmm.
If don't go to areas that you feel will affect your safety, and just try to protect yourself. That's the only thing they've actually said. Then
All
on
right.
the Nigerian end, there have been some there's been some chatter from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that they're working on some sort of evacuation. We don't know where, we don't know how, but that's what we've heard. Then from the Polish end, there've also been some like Nigerian, maybe not officials now, but like some Nigerians that have been like helping out in the whole relocation process and providing like their addresses.
What's the situation? I mean, you were in Ukraine when there was a lot of issues going on, especially with the Crimea situation. What was crossing over from, Crimea, because you had to move from Crimea, I think, to Lviv or thereabout. What was the situation then? How easy was it? And are there any similarities with what, was witnessed then with what is going on now?
I think the situation now is more dire. It's more complicated, and it's difficult now because then when we're crossing from Crimea into the mainland and as such, it was easier for the Ukrainians to take us in, and also for the Russians who were at the Kherson border to allow us in. But now you're dealing with people crossing from Ukraine into the European Union, right? A European Union country. And so the dynamics are a bit more different. Then we had, it was about 28 hours by train from Crimea to Lviv that I moved to, and that's where people are moving to right now. But it was a train. At least you knew you could sit in the train and then arrive. But now people get to walk from Lviv, for 2 hours to the border, and are not even sure of what their their fate would be. I'm aware that certain people might find it easier if, for instance, they've had a European Union visa before, and it will be more difficult for those who just have a passport. But like the guy, Dr. Timothy from Lviv said, we need the Nigerian embassy to speak to the neighboring countries, countries like Slovakia, like Czech Republic, like Poland, and also there's this one more that just went off the top of my head now. If we can speak to them and send, representatives to this border.
No, my dear, you are mistaken, my dear. No. This is beyond talking. This is beyond, oh, send a diplomat, send a MP, send a blah blah blah. This is beyond that. Where is the money? You need to speak these people's language. Where is the money? How are you going to endorse them? What are you giving them that they're going to listen? This is beyond talking. This is one of the problems with us too. This is one of the huge problems with us. We think that everybody just wants to be with us, that they care about us. No, you need to pay people to have things done. Sometimes you need to pay people to care about your issues or to care about your problems. If you're not willing to do that, they don't care. Are you telling me you're just going to give them a good speech to try to change their mind? This is not how the world works. We need to really, there's a serious problem here. We really need to level up. Like, we really need to, this is looking very bad. Okay, guys, this is looking bad. Come on. How do Africans, especially West Africans, don't know that you have to bribe politicians in order for things to get done? And they're here talking about, oh, we just need to talk to the Polish, my bad. We just need to talk to the Poles. We just need to talk to the Slovakians. We just need to talk to the Croatians. We just need to talk to the Romanians. No, you need to pay them. That's what you need to do. If you're not going to do it, then I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
It will be easier to, to ease movement, because again, the idea of movement is also for identify those who are coming in, and also, to be responsible for them, because as much as it's an humanitarian crisis, Europeans do not joke with identification, and so it will be much easier if we have Nigerian representatives at these borders helping. And so for Dr. Daniel, I know a few Nigerians who have been able to cross over, and I will be in touch with him. He's been doing a very good job since his inception, since he came in as the chairman of the Nigerian diaspora in Poland. And so for anybody who is in Ukraine or who might be watching now, he's a very good resource person to reach now. And like he has told you, he's moving
about the transportation. But Dr. Timothy, let me ask you, I mean, for those who might even have the opportunity to, access transportation, what is the cost? At what cost do they access transportation at this point in time?
Okay, so we've had varying reports, but like from Kyiv to Lviv now, we've had reports of about like $40 to come, $30, $50 approximately right now. It's been cheaper in some places, and also some have even set inflated costs. Like I had a report from a student. He said that they were trying to extort $1,000 from him to come to Lviv. So, it gets kind of crazy at a point in time, but it's around $40 to $50 right now to come. And when you are in Lviv, to be able to get to the border also, you're paying close to $20 to $30 approximately if you're taking a cab or you're taking a bus to get to the border.
Speaking about experiences, you seem to be, where, I mean, we can't even see you at all. So how are you surviving? Because if your lights are off, how stuck is your reservoir? Because it seems you cannot go out. If you can't even turn on your lights, how stuck are you in terms of food and water and supplies? How long do you see this continuing for?
Hello?
Yeah, fortunately, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Oh, okay. So, how long, I don't know, but I have food to sustain at least for a few days. But I really don't know how long this will last. And I just hope that it doesn't pass this week, because I don't know how.
Okay, let me just go. I'm not in Ukraine.
Okay.
My younger sister is, and I've been communicating with her for the past few days, trying to, in fact, before things got to this point, we're trying to get her a ticket. Because prior to that, we're waiting for, Nigeria to give the confirmation or, give a statement saying Nigerians in Ukraine, it's time for you to leave. That's just what we're waiting for. So that, in case of necessity, if you have to go back, you have the backing of the government, that kind of stuff. So unfortunately, it got to this point where people had to run away from Ukraine, and initially she was in a bunker, I think a metro station. They were camped there waiting for a train, and they couldn't get one. They had to go back home. And
like we've been speaking to you, the latest developments coming in from Ukraine, talking to some Nigerian students, some Nigerians who are stranded in Ukraine. Our technology correspondent is online speaking.
The country.
I think it was already a bit too late because we wanted her to fly out today, but we couldn't get flights. And by the time we woke up on Thursday, it was a whole different situation. People were leaving. Ukrainian citizens were already running out of the country. As of now, she's on her way to Romania. I know a lot of Nigerians are heading towards Lviv so they can get to Poland, but she couldn't get a ticket to go on to Lviv. And the train that arrived was heading towards, I think they call it Rakiv or something, and that goes to Romania. So she had to jump on that train. last time I spoke to her, she was like, there were so many people at the train station. To even get into the train is a problem. So you could have the money to buy the tickets, but you can't even get into the train. And I was on a Twitter space. We're talking about how to help Nigerians, those heading to Poland, those heading to Romania. And so many people, wonderful people, they gave a lot of suggestions, you know, Nigerians at Warsaw, but we haven't really heard much about from Nigerians in Romania. We tried to communicate with the embassy, but we couldn't get feedback from them, sent them emails, but they've not responded. Recently, we got an information on Twitter. I don't know how legit it is, that we should send their passport number and their names and a passport data page to them. I don't know what they want to do with that, but we have been waiting. They're on the train now. It's a 14-hour train from Kyiv to Rakiv. So they can.
Yeah, let's hope they get to the destination, you know, safely and soundly. But let me also bring back Dr. Tadeo Motosha, who is on the other end, because we talked about some people who are waiting and being there on standby, hoping that people will cross over into Poland so that they can. Some thoughts from Dr. Victor Bamishai. You were there during the Crimea situation. How was the movement? And what do you think Nigerians should be doing now? You know, to be safe and, you know, to be to be safe and to be in good condition as all of this is happening.
Yes, let me say for Dr. Tade is traveling to the border right now so that he can, you know, be able to manage things from the front. So that's why he's having network glitches as he travels. But like I said earlier, this is a much different situation from the Crimean incident, because we're traveling from the peninsula to the mainland, but right now you have people traveling from all over the country to different parts of the border, or at least border cities. And so the way to be safe at this time is to get yourself within groups of people. Don't stay isolated. During the Crimean and the Donbass, Donbass is the Donetsk region, and the Lugansk, when they were initially separated, we had cases of Nigerian students being kidnapped. You know, they came to their homes and kidnapped them. And it took a lot of negotiations and diplomacy to get them released, but that was not without torture. So we wouldn't want a repeat of that. And so if you are in groups of people, it's much.
Should I say it or should I not say it? Okay, I won't say the full thing, but let me just say a little bit. There's gonna be more barbaric situations happening. So people are complaining now, right, about what's happening, the injustices that are going on. When these Ukrainians and Russians get more desperate, which I think they will, there's going to be even more barbaric situations that are happening just now. People now are talking about, they're not letting me go on the plane. They're not letting me go on the train. They're not letting me go on the subway. They're not letting me go on the metro. This is your problem now. I don't want to know what's going to happen. God forbid, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying I do not want to know the situation of when this potentially gets worse. Is you not being able to go on the train going to be the worst possible situation when these people get more desperate? This is the anyway, let me I don't want to jinx anything, so let me stop talking.
Easier, you know, to signal and also to be safe. And please stay within houses or apartments that have bunkers. And so this is why it's wise to stay within hostels. There are many hostels, most of the hostels in Ukraine are equipped with bunkers, and bunkers are known to be bomb proofed. So right now, it's advisable, like I said, to communicate and be within groups, especially knowing that many Nigerian students in Ukraine do not actually speak the local language, which can be Russian or Ukrainian many times. And at this point in time, if you are going to go to the border, please don't go alone. Make sure you are in groups of people, and make sure you at least have good, battery life at the time you are going to start, because it can be quite a strenuous journey of, trekking many times for between 2 to 4 hours. Some people have even reported themselves to have trekked for 7 hours. So for whatever might be happening, you want to have, your device on to be able to communicate to people who are.
Oh, okay, all right. So let me hold you there for a bit, and
expect, you can't just come in and they let you go right away into the city. So they needed to be processed, and from the information we have, there's going to be about couple of hours of sort of documentation, maybe some kind of interview as well before they are being allowed to leave. But what we're doing on our part is to crowdsource or gather addresses where these people can, the addresses they can provide, so that the immigration can let them go. Because from what we understand, they already made a provision to have a camp, at somewhere around the border area where people can actually be, kept for a while. So what we're doing is I'm about 2 hours away now from the border. Once we get there, I would hopefully have more information on what's going on, and then we'll be able to, provide more information. But we are, like I said, we're on top of it. Tomorrow we'll be getting some buses down to the border to be able to help those that have been fully processed. We don't know exactly how long it's going to take, but for sure, I understand some people have been there since yesterday night and they haven't been released, so when we do not have access to them, but we'll keep passing across whatever information we have from our end. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Dr. Timothy, let me come back again to you. Again, you are also kind of stuck where you are. But what are your supplies like? How are you going to survive? Are you alone where you are right now?
Okay, currently I'm not alone. We are a few of us that are here. We kind of stayed behind for 2 reasons: to help those that are also coming in and to make sure that everyone is out before we leave. So it would be like kind of the last people to go. But we are stocked up. We have supplies.
This is just heartbreaking. I just posted a comment right now. Most of these men, most of these women are starting to be engineers. They're starting to be doctors. These are people that are intelligent. These are people that are capable. These are exceptional people. And this is sad. This is heartbreaking, but this video is almost over, so let's continue.
Actually, because like it's been a long time coming.
Normalize. Yeah.
Awesome. Fortune, on your own part, have you heard from your sister? Any news? What's the update? Have they gotten to their destination? I know you said it's a 14-hour train ride, but is there any means of communication as it is right now?
Yes, we've been communicating with her. There's still internet, so we've been communicating with them. The last time we spoke, I asked her to send her details to the Nigerian embassy at Romania because they requested for it. Hopefully, they will communicate with the Romanian government so that Nigerians coming in, will be able to be processed and brought in, because Indians.
Ukraine. What's
here? Indians already set up camp at the border so that there are people coming in, can be processed quickly and taken to shelter. So I'm hoping that the Nigerian embassy is working on something like that too, so that they can receive Nigerian students heading towards Romania.
Okay, so has there been any contact? What's it like? What's the contact with? I mean, because it seems the center of attraction has been Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. Has there been any form of communication? You know, which you actually mentioned earlier on. But has there been any form of communication with now sister countries? I mean, border countries. Victor Obama, Dr. Obamshai actually listed some, but your sister is heading to Ukraine. Now, what's been the form of communication? I mean, between you or your sister, if she's maybe not traveling alone, you know, with those in Romania, be it maybe Nigerians in Romania or even the embassy in Romania?
Yes, the embassy in Romania, we've been trying to call them, but we weren't able to reach them. So we sent emails on their website. We got their email address, and we sent them emails concerning the situation and all that. And I reached out to a friend that was in Romania some years ago, but he left Romania. So he's trying to fix me up with someone that is in Budapest right now. But we are still like waiting for them to at least get to the border, so we'll know the next stage, because if they can't pass through the border, then all these arrangements make no meaning. So I think the most important thing now is the Nigerian embassy actually going there, you know, being there or communicating with the Romanian government, the border patrol, you know, communicating with them and giving them, should I say, an instruction to let Nigerians in, at least to transit from there back home, back to Nigeria.
All right, let's hope that.
Okay, so I find Audrey's comment to be very, very interesting. How do I? Okay, I guess I'll just. She said, just watched an interview on Channels TV from 2 days ago. There was a Nigerian doctor who was a student in Crimea in 2014. He said some African students were kidnapped and tortured last time around. I find it very, very interesting that we never heard of that. I've never heard of that. I had no idea. See, this is something that and it is in as much as, you know, I like to make fun of the UK and whatever. This is not something that would happen in the UK. You know what I mean? Like, this is not something that would happen in the US just like that. So it's very interesting how something like this can happen over there and none of us know about it. It doesn't make breaking news. Nobody gets in trouble. It's just very, very interesting. So clearly there's more going on over there that we have no idea about. That's very interesting. Thank you, Chima. You said the Ukrainian government is run by neo-Nazis. That is true. But according to them, they said it's only about half of them that are neo-Nazis, not all of them, but whatever. Yeah, but like, see, something like this would not happen in the UK. Immigration is too big. Some of these other countries, these things would not happen. But we're going to these countries where evidently they don't care, you know? Now, are you serious? I don't think the students know that Ukraine is neo-Nazi. Yeah, they don't know that. They don't. Well, now they found out. Okay, so lastly, we'll just play one last video, I guess, before we, I don't know, but just one last video. Be this one.
By 6 o'clock, if I can remember, I woke up to the sound of like an explosion.
Nigerian doctor Akintola Onidamilola is trying to flee Ukraine's capital, Kyiv.
So this is what the road is like. It's kind of empty.
Like thousands of other Africans who went to Ukraine for their studies, she's now stranded amid a Russian military invasion.
Just all of us are just trying to do what we can to get out of here.
City under siege across Ukraine are home to tens of thousands of African students studying medicine, engineering, and military affairs. What was seen as a cheaper alternative to Western Europe and the United States has now become a war zone. Russian tanks, planes, and ships on Thursday launched the biggest European invasion of another nation since World War II. This is Dnipro in Ukraine's east, home to Ghanaian medical student Nana Efa Hockman.
For now, I don't know. The only option we have is just to go to Poland border, but it's not really safe because going to Poland border, literally, we need to pass through some of these cities before we can reach the western side of the country.
Morocco, Nigeria, and Egypt are among the top 10 countries worldwide with foreign students in Ukraine, together supplying 16,000 students, according to the Education Ministry. But with flights grounded, African governments thousands of miles away are struggling to support their citizens. Ghanaian engineering student Percy Ahini Yaboa, speaking from the eastern city Kharkiv, says it's only now that the reality is hitting. Afraid of taking the road west and without flights or money, he's staying put.
I think it's, for me, I think it's a bit too late for evacuation and all those things. Honestly, that's how I feel.
The students Reuters spoke to said they have not yet received help from home.
This is so sad, and they're not gonna receive help from home. I mean, we're just not. They're not gonna receive
An
help from
embassy
home.
in Kenya has announced that Ukraine has.
No. Anyways, when saying the men have to stay and fight, do you think that would be fair though? Because technically they're not citizens of that country. So do you think it would be fair if Ukraine said, "Oh no, we're this desperate that you now have to sit here and fight for the country"? Do you guys think that would be fair or not? Let me just see what some of you guys are saying. Boss, from the time Impeding Doom was announced, I would have gotten a map and try and find my way out, even if I have to get a mug early now. You crawl out of the country? Yeah, me too. I would. But they were saying that there's some people that have been trekking for hours. Okay, they said forget the train. I'm just gonna walk. There are people who are actually doing that right now. I don't know how successful they are with that, because I mean, knowing me and my first world problems, Russia or Ukraine, they're cold, right? Those places are cold, number one. Number two, how about the Wi-Fi reception? How do you know where you're going? Like, no, that's too much stress for me. Like, no, I couldn't deal with that. I wouldn't be that bold to actually go outside and trek and try to find my way to a different country. Yeah, that's not in me. Okay, that is not in me. Africans must stay in their countries and fix it. Europe isn't safe for us. I have to agree with you on that. And I know people are gonna call me a hypocrite, but I have to agree with you on that. It's true. There's no place like home. There's no place outside that's gonna treat you better. You know? Look at some of these doctors. Look at some of these people that are getting their PhDs. What does their PhD matter to them now? What does it matter to them now? But hey, I actually like I like Russians though. I like Russians are cool. I like Ukrainians. I actually don't have a personal issue with them, to be honest. I don't. So I can't act brand new now and be like I hate those mofos. I mean, they are mofos, but they're mofos to each other, technically, right? They're beefing with each other. They're trying to kill each other, right? So let them do that. Like let them figure that out. I'm not involved. Oh man. Okay, so BB is saying instead of going there, we should just be doing school online. That's a good point. I had no idea there was Africans in Ukraine. Mainstream. The population of Africans in Ukraine is not very significant, so that's why you don't know about us. But yes, we're there. Um, from what I've seen, though, a lot of Africans in Ukraine and Russia don't really know the language. I don't know how they're surviving, but they're making it work. I mean, evidently, it's better to get a degree in Russia than it is to get a degree in USA because USA is too expensive. So I guess those are some of the pros and cons of this trade-off, right? Anyway, if anyone has anything to add, I'll quickly, I guess, open some of the lines up. How do you guys feel about the situation? Like, how do you guys? I feel bad, but it's like this is karma. You know what I mean? This is what we get for treating these people like gods in our own countries. This is what we get. So, um, the best part is that it's not even racism, it's human nature, your own first. That's a very interesting point. See, and you know what? Like I said, I have no issue with Russians and Ukrainians. I actually like Russians. So they have really nice accents and they like to drink lots of vodka. Eastern Europeans, they're cool. I could be mistaken, but I don't remember Eastern Europeans colonizing anybody, right? So yeah, Eastern Europeans are cool. Like I have no beef with them. I really don't. But yes, do you guys think that what's happening right now in Ukraine is racism? Because apparently it's not just the Africans, it's all of the foreigners that are not whites. It's all of the foreigners that are not white that are being treated like this. So is it racism or is it protectionism? What is it? What do you guys think? I really want your guys' honest opinion on this. But yes, Africans, you need tough love. Hopefully, some of you guys have woken up now and you guys get out of this whole fantasy that everyone likes you and everyone cares about you and that, I've heard so many Africans, especially on this panel, right? Be like, oh, we don't have any enemies. Everybody loves us. So nobody loves us, okay? We do have enemies. They're not official enemies, but we do have enemies. Stop with this, oh, we're so perfect, we're so great, we have no issues. No, we have lots of issues. NATO, right? NATO, UN, none of those organizations care about Africa. But let's be honest here, none of them care about Africa needs to really realize that we are on our own and we have to stop being so nice. Africans need to stop being nice. I'm tired of Africans being like, oh, we're so cultured. We have so much respect. We have so much respect and culture for each other. No, sorry. We have so much respect and culture for other people, but not really for each other. That's a problem. That's a huge cultural problem that we haven't like evolved from that. Not all of us, right? But I'll say the majority of us haven't evolved from that thinking, and it's very dangerous. Um Factual. I saw that Russian girl dog Lagos after coming. Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you for reminding me, Black Beauty. Let's quickly watch that again. Let's refresh our memories, right? Let's refresh our memories. You guys remember, I think Mr. Uganda played the video. There was a Russian chick, right? And she went to Nigeria with $100. She survived in Nigeria with $100. I want to know if I could go to Russia with $100 and survive. I just want to know that. If I go to Russia right now with $100, are these Russians, are these Eastern Europeans gonna be like, uh, oh, you're a foreigner. Okay, let me help you. Blah 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 blah. I love your hair. I love your culture. They don't care. I was arguing with some Ghanaians not long ago, right? I was actually arguing with some Ghanaians specifically because I don't think they know. There were some Russian YouTubers, and I have no issue with Russians, but I'm just keeping it real. Okay. There are some Russian YouTubers that have been very problematic in reporting things about Africa. There was a recent video, I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago. There are two Russian YouTubers who went to, I think, Ghana, and they called that country the most disgusting country ever. They completely like disrespected the nation of Ghana, and there was no backlash. Very little, if I should say. Let me see if I can find. I'm trying to see if I could find the. Hold on. I'm trying to see if I can find the clip. If anyone wants to help me, please find me the link. There was a YouTube video, and it's called Russian YouTubers Disrespected Ghana. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Okay, for some reason, I'm not able to find the clip right now, but I guess when people are talking, I'll try to see if I can find the video. But anyways, there have been a couple of videos of Russians going to Africa, Russian YouTubers going to Africa, and them basically speaking bad about African countries, calling these countries ugly. And yes, I know we have, some of our areas, yeah, we need to work on, our waste management. Like we have our problems, yes. But I want to know when it would be okay for an African to go to a certain Russian community, a certain Ukrainian community, call it ugly, have all this bad PR online, and there's no backlash. I just want to know when the opposite would be okay. But when it comes to us, oh, it's no problem. It's no problem. And then this is the most disgusting part about some Africans. When people come to our countries and disrespect us, and we're supposed to teach them a lesson, do you know what we say? Oh, they didn't know. Benefit of the doubt. Oh, then they bring religion, like, oh, we're not supposed to judge each other. We're all God's children. It's really just annoying. But I'm gonna go ahead and add people now, because yeah. So that's nice. Thanks for calling in. Did you have anything to add to this?
I'll add something on it. I'm about to kind of hurt other people's feelings about this. Honestly, I like you said, I don't really care when it comes to this situation. I don't care about Ukraine, what's going to happen between Ukraine and Russia. I really don't care, and I really don't care about the Africans who are having this type of problems. I'll explain why my reason, right? Because over and over, Africans have been told don't go to most of these European country because they don't want you there, right? Same thing with Asia, right? African, what happened for COVID-19 thing, right? We all saw how racist certain Asian people are, right? But Africans, that's not stopping Africans to go to Asian countries. And over, Africans are being told don't go to this European country, Asian country, because they don't want you there, but you still going. So when this type of things happening, don't cry and say, I'm treated bad, this is racism. Yeah, they told you straight up, don't come to my country, and you still not listening. Look, if someone if someone tells you, I'm gonna kill you, you take that as a serious thing. Do not take that as a joke. Don't be surprised when someone holds a gun to your face and be like, oh, I thought you were playing. No, it's a threat. You don't play with someone threatening you. The same thing situation a lot of Africans games are playing. When someone telling you do not go to their country because they don't want you there, you should listen to them. And you playing these games, think you're going there and people gonna treat you equal. Listen, we live in a world where Africans are the group of black people. People don't like them. They don't care about them, right? But you keep trying to go to this European country, Asian country, knowing they don't want you in their country, then you get killed. You guess what happens? Nothing happens to them, and they can go free, and no one cares. So I'm not gonna sit here and cry. Africans are doing this to themselves. You already been told don't go to these countries, but you still go. I get there's some European country. There's a like UK, right? There's a lot of diverse people. I think you should go to. If you got education, go to America or UK. It's it's way much better than go to a European country that there's no people. Well, there's no community of young people there. That's very dangerous game you're playing, because when something happens to you, no one cares. That's just the honest truth. Look, I'm not saying I don't care what's going on. Of course, I'm African. I care about other Africa, but I'm not gonna feel bad for people who literally keep doing this to themselves over and over. Listen, I got no sympathy for the. I cannot feel bad for someone. Literally jumps off a building and does it again a couple times and finally breaks his leg and be like, "I'll break my leg." No, I'm not gonna feel bad for you because you keep doing this to yourself. Honestly. So it's hard for me to feel bad for these Africans.
So
And personally, go ahead.
I want to ask you a question. Are you saying that they should stop going to Eastern Europe or Europe? My bad.
Yeah, if these people keep telling you they don't want you in their countries, why are you going? It's your choice. You can do whatever you want.
When did they say that though?
When did they say that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really you. I don't have to say it, but how you get treated in their country. Basically, you can, you don't have to say words, but the way they treat you, the way they look down upon you, that's enough for telling you they don't want you there.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you I don't want you in my country, but if I treat you like, like a second class citizen, I don't care about you, I'm always disrespecting you, spit on you, what makes you, what is that sign saying to you? It's not saying, you're not saying anything, but those signs tells you what they want to, they're basically telling you.
Someone's saying that you're a gangster.
I'm a gangster? No.
How are you doing?
I grew up in the suburbs around white people, so I'm not no gangsters.
Okay. All right. No, continue. Yeah.
No, yeah. So I really don't got time to feel bad for a lot of Africans. Okay, and also this idea of this is just be a World War III. Honestly, we already have World War III. I just found out about this, right? The Second Congo War basically had 9 African countries involved in it. Basically, the numbers say as the people that died is in the same number as World War II, basically. Technically, that is considered World War III, but technically. But did anyone care about that situation? No. European helped give weapons and other things to fight the war, but no one didn't care. They didn't call it, not African country were involved, but European were like, eh. But soon it became a European problem, war happening. Oh, now the world should care. The world we Africans should care. Africans didn't care when it was happening in the continent. What should we care? Africans need to understand. Listen, put yourself first. Stop worrying about what Europeans are doing. Africans should be involved in this situation. Keep your mouth shut. Honestly, you got more problem to worry about. You need to fix your country. You need to fix your situation. Then worry about what Europeans doing.
African news stations are here talking about, oh, we pray for Ukraine. We hope Ukraine as well. Why are you not evacuating your own citizens that are there right now? Why
are you praying?
Why are these African news stations deflecting? They're here talking about, oh, Ukraine, we feel so bad for you. Why are you not getting your students that are stuck there right now?
I mean, I don't get it. I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of this nonsense. I'm tired worrying about the people. Listen, I'm gonna focus on me and my people. I'm not gonna worry about nobody else because technically these people don't care about me. Why should I care about them? At the end of the day, I'm gonna tell people to worry about themselves and worry about your country. Fix your country before you try to fix other people. Because I think that Africa is you're not gonna do anything. Africa is shown over and over, time and time over again that they're not worried about their own people. So why should I care?
That's nice. I'm waiting for the Africans that are gonna come in here and say racism doesn't exist. You guys are just imagining things. I'm waiting for them. Are they?
Whatever. I don't screw them also.
Where are those Africans that are gonna be like, oh, this is not due to racism? Yeah, whatever. Like, anyway, guys, let's play. I found the video. Mr. Uganda played this video a long time ago, and thanks Black Beauty for reminding us. I want to know when this situation could happen. If any of us could do this, right? Can any of us go to Russia and survive with just $100? But I'm gonna literally be very, very quick with this video.
Guys, this is your girl Oingo Malian, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how I decided to pack my bags and move to Nigeria with just $100 in my pocket. So let me not mince words and talk plenty, whatever. Let me just get right into the video. So basically, you people back in Russia influenced me a lot. So I have friends, as I always say, I have Nigerian friends back in my home country in Russia. So we were kind of getting closer and closer, and I was discovering more and more about Nigerian culture. I was going to Nigerian clubs, partying every weekend. It was like my job that I was not getting paid for. Every weekend, steady, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would be there dancing my soul dance when I was there back then. But sorry, I was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Let me also include Wednesdays and Thursdays and occasional Mondays. Like I was all over the place in all those Nigerian clubs. And by the time, for the first time, when I saw Nigerian comedy online, all those skit makers, all those comedians, I was like, Mago, let me just pack my bag. Because that's literally what I'm going to do in my life right now. I'm so tired of working this ordinary job. I was working at a call center. I was getting work of my lifestyle, of my routine. I wanted to find myself, discover myself. So I decided, let me not waste my 20s and my youth, my young years. So I decided to pack my bag and come to Nigeria. But when did this happen? This happened around November 2019, before coronavirus started and spoiled our lives. So back then, I had a job, so I was able to kind of like raise up some funds, make some money, and come here. So I was in Nigeria for the first time in February 2020. But unfortunately, let me not get into the details of why that happened. I had to leave because we have to travel to Dubai. So I only got to spend 6 days in Lagos. Just imagine somebody. And that's when I broke down and had a meltdown. I was just crying for hours at my house. I was like, what do you mean they closed the border? I was trying to look for some illegal ways to like sneak into Nigeria. I couldn't find anything, so I was getting really frustrated, really upset, really scared. Like, what am I gonna do? So I had to sit in Russia for another 8 months, basically from February 2020 to October 2020. And guess what happened during those 8 months? I lost my job, number one, because let me not lie to you, it wasn't even because of coronavirus. That was because I was fucking late. I was late and they fired me from my job. So there I was, jobless and hopeless, but no, actually I was still hopeful, hoping for the border to open very soon. So that was around June 2020 when I lost my job. I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna get any more jobs. I'm just gonna wait for the border to open. It's gonna open anytime soon. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that they're gonna open the border anytime soon. I'm not gonna work any ordinary or whatever boring job again, and I'm going to go to Nigeria and chase my passion, which is video making, creating stuff and content, being a video vixen, those kinds of things. So I was just sitting steady and waiting and steady chopping money and money no day anyway. So guess what happened? I chopped all my money during the course of the summer because I was living this baby girl life that I couldn't afford anyway. But yeah, so I chopped my money and I wasn't making any money. So basically, when it was time to go back to Nigeria, when they finally announced that the border is now open, I was like, all right, so I don't really have money for even a ticket to Nigeria. So I started trying to I lended money to some people back in my home country. I was trying to get the money that they were owing me back, and guess what? Nobody was trying to pay me back. That's when I was getting really frustrated. I'm like, guys, hurry up, please. I'm afraid they're going to close the border again. But anyways, as everything happened, I got some of the money back, just enough to purchase my ticket to come to Nigeria, and to make my visa. But then guess what? I'm like, I don't have a place to stay in Nigeria. I don't know anybody in Nigeria. So what am I going to do? And, I didn't tell the people that hosted me the first time that I was coming back, basically because I was kind of vexing at them. So I was like, let me just not even tell them that I'm coming back. And we kind of had this, we're not talking anyway, so I felt like I'm alone. So I looked for a place to book or to rent for at least the first few weeks. So I rented a space for 3 weeks. The first 3 weeks, the cheapest place I could find. And then I was like, okay, now that I don't have I don't get money to even survive. Like I don't have actually anything to come to Nigeria with. So I was very lucky that one of my fans actually sent me $100. He was like, "This is for your first basically days in Lagos. I hope this will be enough for the first days." And my crazy ass accepted it, and I was like, "Gee, now I have funds to actually go to Nigeria and flex," because I didn't really know how much $100 can afford you or can get you in Nigeria. So I was trying to remain positive. I'm like, this is enough money. So back then, the course was, I think, the exchange rates were different. So when I arrived and went to exchange my monies, it added up to 39,000 naira. Maybe they scammed me, but that's what they told me. It was 39,000 naira. So after I exchanged my money, I paid like 9K for Uber that night to come to the place I was going to. So I was left with like 30K. I was like, this is pretty good. 30,000 in my country is pretty much okay. But little did I know that it was very little. But I kept pushing. So to cut a long story short, I was managing my 30,000 naira for the first week in Lagos, and during my second week in Lagos, I met up with a Russian friend of mine who I previously met in my first trip to Lagos. I stayed in her house for the next 2 weeks, and after that, here's what happened. One day, I decided to go and shoot like a skit or a video to this house with these cool, wonderful people. And guess what happened? I ended up staying there for the next 4 months, basically. I took them. Shout out to Samski, shout out to Darby Rucci, shout out to Lutakak and others inhabitants of that house. I love you guys. Thank you so much for actually being there for me. Dirty Boy of Lala, also shout out to him. So anyways, let me continue. But actually we had mad fun. As I was staying there, we had such mad fun. I'm going to include some videos here and here and here. For example, this is what happened when I just arrived. Anyway, as you can see, we had mad fun. Okay, let me get into the good part. So what did I chop? Almost every day, what did I chop? I would eat like this street food that they sold right outside the gate. They would sell this like 150 naira rice, 50 naira meat, 50 naira plantain. So I was eating that food every day and every night because I was still hustling. I was trying to raise funds to actually afford my own place. So that was mad. So that's how I was surviving every day. We had a pool too. We had mad fun in the pool. So you could tell that like, I was actually having a pretty good time. Like, and I was having an amazing time, even though money was not Dane back then, but I still had mad fun, and I'm still super thankful for the opportunity to even stay there. Like, oh my God, Nigerian people are the best. You guys are so kind and welcoming. Like, could you imagine this happening in any other country? Like, I love you guys. So basically, that's what happened.
Oh my gosh, like I wanted to finish that video, but she just took so long to get to the point. So anyways, long story short, she was able to go to Nigeria with $100. She didn't have a job. She was able to survive because Nigerians are so nice. And the reciprocal would never happen. I mean, I don't know too many Nigerians. If there are Nigerians that could just go to Russia with $100 and survive and make it and be completely fine, I would like to know, but I haven't heard too many cases of that, right? Last thing. On these YouTube streets a while ago, there were also Ghanaians that were complaining that Russian YouTubers, here as you can see the title, Russian YouTubers disgraced Ghana. So it's a 12-minute video. I do not want to play the whole thing because I want to move on.
21st century and some people living in this country still think Africans live on trees, which is very sad. When they hear Africa, the schema is like, excuse me to say, a place full of low-minded people. It's very sad. They have no respect for us and see how our people respect them when they come to Africa. Some time ago, I told somebody I'm from Ghana, and the person was like, why is that country dirty like that? And I asked the person, have you been to Ghana before? And he said no, but he saw on the internet. And I was like, no way. So some months ago, a friend of mine who is also a YouTuber, he uploaded this video. He's called Dela, and he traveled to Russia and told somebody he's from Ghana, and this is what happened.
Okay, so last year summer, that was in May, June, July, I went for an experience. I went for a voluntary experience in Russia, and in Siberia, where I had a very great experience. I went to teach English in a summer camp, and the experience was really amazing. It was really great. But then I was with this host family that were also really amazing. But The lady wanted to know much about Ghana and Africa. So she was asking me, and like she was like, "Hello, so where are you from?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm from Ghana. It can be located in West Africa." So she picked up her laptop, she went on YouTube, and she typed Accra, like I told her, Accra, Ghana. And trust me, guys, the first few informations this lady had about Ghana was trash. It was like rubbish. It was total shank. Excuse me to use those words, but then that was what moved me at the first instance. Like she showed me, and and in that video, I think I'll try and look for the video, and I'll link it in the description box so you guys really know what I'm talking about. Like the ladies, the content creators that did this video were from Ukraine, and they were showing dirty places in Ghana. Like they were showing really, really bad places in Ghana. Of course, I'm not trying to say they are not like bad places in Ghana. They are, but I mean, what is the essence of coming to a country and instead of you promoting the country, you showing the bad side of the country and not showing the good side of the country? I hope you understand. What was the essence? That's like, should I even? I don't even want to use that word. But then that was what moved me. And the lady showed me the video, and they were just showing like rubbish, like full of rubbish, and they were holding their nose and they were wearing gloves as if like Africa and Ghana is like some dirty place that they can't even live. Like they won't even dream of coming. Like people wouldn't even want to think of coming to the continent of Ghana. It's the continent of Africa. Like I was so mad when I saw the video, and I even at some point I had to lie and say that that wasn't Ghana, but it was so clear. I mean, like the content creators left in the description was that this was Accra, this was Ghana, this was Africa. And like I tried to look for better videos to prove that no, Ghana is better. Like I really need real content to show that like Ghana is this beautiful. And guys, could you imagine, like I couldn't find, like, let me even say like that, I couldn't find. So
I know these people, anything they see or anything they hear of, they try to research on the internet. And even I saw this comment under my video, annoying questions Russians ask Africans. It was like they should start making use of the fast internet they have to learn about Africa because the ignorance is too much. Nice video. Okay, this guy was in Russia, now he's not here again, and so she knows what she's talking about. But I sat down to think about this for long. I know they research on the internet when they are curious about something. That's why when Dela said he's from Ghana, the person directly went to the internet to search about Ghana. So I was like, don't they see any of the videos uploaded by the Africa to the World movement? So my question is, why don't they see the positive side of Africa? And that's the reason why I make this video today. So one day I decided to go on the internet like a Russian. That means I was going to search everything or browse on the internet like a Russian, everything in Russian language. And that's how I found my answers. So I went straight on YouTube and typed Ghana in Russian. You people know no Russian will search about Ghana in English. They'll search about Ghana in Russian. And the first two videos that I saw was very bad. And that confirmed what Dela said. And the title of the first video is what annoys me. Ghana Musanaya Salisa Afriki. Meaning Ghana, the trust capital of Africa, or Ghana, the refuge capital of Africa. And this guy, Valamov, is one of the top YouTubers here in Russia. He has over 1 million subscribers. So let's check out the video. First, looking at the description, Ghana is a land of garbage, stink, and the most beautiful coffins in the world. Look at this. Ghana is a land of garbage, stink.
Так, ребенка прогнали из грязи, чтобы не позорил деревню своим асоциальным поведением. Они вот в этих домиках живут из досок сколоченных. Попросту сюда люди выходят посрать, да. Такая вот дорога. Сюда в эти канавы выходит канализация. Минутка экологии, дорогие друзья. Мы с вами на берегу океана, в Гане, в Акре. Здесь вот какие-то тонны пластикового мусора, весь берег завален. Народ жжет там покрышки, из-за чего черный дым стоит над берегом. Здесь какая-то черная река выходит в океан. Вот так вот выглядит райский берег. Приезжайте на курорты Ганы. При этом, я так понимаю, это просто океан во время шторма выносит. Я не знаю, что это такое. Здесь его жгут, они жгут мусор, сжигают прямо на берегу океана. Все в дыму, смог, а это черная зловонная река. А там все мусором завалено. Какая вообще ад.
So this guy went to Ghana to take videos at these places, whilst there were more positive videos he could make. Although he showed some positive part of the country, but looking at the title of the video, that means he wanted to show his people the negative side of our country. And this is the only video he did in Ghana too. I mean, while some YouTubers are promoting our continent, they are promoting our country. And look at what this guy is doing, disgracing us. So this guy continued to visit more poor communities in Ghana and even took videos of their poor hygiene. I don't mean these places doesn't exist in Ghana, but imagine I also take my camera and show the negative side of Russia. I know a warning will come from above and I may get into trouble. And talking about the second video, these two women, Ariel and Rishka, which some people say they are from Russia, others say they are from Ukraine, which I personally haven't confirmed. About 2 years ago, I was online on one of the Ghanaian communities here in Russia, and an argument or a debate about this video rose up with some of the members in the group criticizing these two women and others criticizing our leaders. I think I'm condemning both. Why should you come to my country and show our mess to the world? And are you going to be happy when I do the same thing to you? So let me finish with their video before I come to the leaders. So they started their video around the Kotoka International Airport, which is the main airport in Ghana, on a very nice street. And they started with their intro and they ended up like, in Ghana is the most dirtiest place in the world. And that's the part that annoys me. If you are visiting my country, just go to the tourist site and more positive places. And forget about the negative part of the country, which are going to kill your vibe.
Мы прилетели в адскую Акру, столицу Ганы. Здесь, между прочим, находится одно из самых грязных мест в мире. Здесь, представляешь, то есть люди живут прямо на свалке. Да, но не все. Это можете себе представить, сколько слоев этого мусора здесь? Когда приходит новая партия техники, люди тут же разбирают ее по кускам. Рабочие детали снимают. Просто задыхаешься. А теперь представь.
So they visited the places they claim to be the dirtiest places in the world, and later they even continued to the northern part of Ghana. I even don't want to talk much about them. They posted their video 2 years ago, and I think this motivated Valamov to also come to Ghana and show this negative part of Ghana to his people. I think to get more views, destroying our image. So his main aim was to show the places with the
Right. I think we get the point, right? I think we get the point. So that's nice. Did you have anything to add before we let the other panelists go?
Yeah, I just want to say that Africans should not be worried about other Europeans do or say. You know, I think Africans should just focus on their own country, focus on their own continent, and that's it. You know, whenever Europeans have their own issues and problems, it's their problem, not our problem. Because at the end of the day, they don't care about us. They don't care. You know, when we go through something, you know what they care? No, they don't acknowledge it. No news doesn't say about it. It's our problem. We have to deal with our problem by ourselves. But whenever they have a problem, everyone expects us to be involved, to pray. No, I'm not gonna pray for nobody. I'm not gonna pray for the issues. I'm not gonna pray for nobody. You know, I think you need to understand if you're gonna go to these countries, go. If you're gonna go. But don't cry about how they're gonna treat you. Don't cry how they're gonna, how they want to do to you. Listen, because honestly, I don't care myself. You guys, it's your choice. You do what you best for you, but don't come crying saying how they're treating you, because I personally don't care. Maybe other Africans care, but I'm not one of those Africans, honestly.
Okay, thank you. And Tribal African, you can go ahead.
Hello. I'm gonna speak in Russian. Хорошо. Меня зовут Траба Африку. Я живу в Украине 2 года. Я там училась. Украина — это очень плохая страна для африканских. Я все знаю, что там случилось с африканскими студентами в Украине. Понимаете? Well, after Africa millennial, when I left Cameroon at 19 years, I went to Ukraine. I studied Ukraine for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So I can speak Russian. I understand everything that was going on over there, but I could not bear the racism, so I had to leave and move to Italy.
What?
Yes.
You said it was racist in Ukraine?
That's why I had to leave. Africans were being killed on the street just by a group called Skinhead.
What?
Are you talking about the Azov Battalion by any chance?
About what?
The Azov Battalion. Those are the main people who run the streets.
No, there was a group, the Skinhead. But Skinhead in Russia at that time, they had bikes. They were not hiding. As an African, you could not live at night by yourself. You'll be killed.
What year was this?
2000 and maybe 2008. No, 2008, 2007. What? Yes, even up to now. That town they call Lugansk. I went to Lugansk. I was supposed to do engineering. So when you go, we had what they call Подготовительный факультет, which means it's preparation faculty, which you need to learn Russian for a year before you can start year one. So those who don't want to learn Russian, they'll start learning English. But the English teachers are just rubbish. There's no need for you going to Ukraine and learn Russian. You will be doing the work all by yourself. But if you learn in Russian, that's why you have the Russian teachers. So I took the option to learn in Russian. So those in African students who learn in Russian in Ukraine, they understand more, because it's better for you to learn in Russian, not in English. No, they have English things, but their teachers are not good. They can't speak English themselves. Do you understand? So I understand all what is happening in Ukraine, understand why some of these people, they don't want to go, because sometimes you meet some Africans who are using Ukraine as a stepping stone. They just want to go to Ukraine and move somewhere else. Of course, yes, the education is really, really cheap. To do medicine in Ukraine, you spend $1,200 a year. That's what it costs. Yeah, $1,200 a year for medical students. So that's why so many of them, they go there to study. But Ukraine is not a good country for Africans. And I don't know, sometimes you will not blame them, because you might want to become a doctor in your country, but you don't have the opportunity. Maybe the entrance exam is so corrupt, you need to have some uncles or some people who push you further, but you don't have. So some of them see these countries as the best way. You can go to Europe, because Europe as well is expensive. You get what I mean?
I literally had no idea it was that bad. I really
No. I knew a friend that was killed. Me, myself, I was struck with a bottle on my head.
Damn.
Oh my
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
Luckily, I was close to what they call the общежитие. It was like hostel, the school hostel, because that's the only way where you can have safety. That's the only way when you have safety. And there was just blood oozing out from my head. They kill people like that. It's a terrible country. I don't know. Some people telling me things have changed now, but I told my friends, you know what? I'm not gonna stay in this country, because they say, oh, where have you gone? You've come this far. You've come this far. You've done all these things. I said, no, man. I'll go back home. So I went home, back to Cameroon. Then I came to Italy.
And honestly, when is it okay if I ask you something? When did you leave Ukraine?
I left Ukraine 2000 and maybe 9, something like that.
In that case, you pretty much left at a good time, because things have gotten a hell of a lot worse in Ukraine ever since you left. Like,
the town, that this Donbass region, that they've got this Russian separatists, that's where I was. So I don't think there's any African in that town now.
Nah.
That Lugansk town that's where, because that town, they spoke Russian in that town, yes. But the other part of Ukraine, like Kiev, the capital, they spoke Ukrainian.
Right.
So that's why I was in Ukraine, but I studied in Russian.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because after you left, like I think it was like 5 years later. That's when the coup happened. The neo-Nazi led coup happened.
Yeah. So did the and blaming Africans. Well, as we were saying, I saw the thing, the video about that girl. Africans, like we believe it or not, are continental Africans. They still feel inferior to white people. You know, the thing when you're close to a white person, you have a white friend. They think that's cool. You understand? They don't know the white people that we know here. So the white people who go to Africa, they are aware of all this privilege and they know how to act right. And when they go, they meet these local people. They have this white Jesus mentality, and these people like them. A local Ghanaian will even fight you to protect a white man in Ghana, and there's nothing you can do about it. And see, like little boys like this that come and say, "Oh, Russian is that they're looking bad about our country." Yeah, but to be honest, our countries, we've got some really bad hygiene and some bad places that like really horrible places. Well, I've been in Ukraine, where I was Lugansk. Lugansk was not considered a really developed town, but the amount of infrastructure that it had could match some of Africa's capital cities. That town it was considered like a poor. It was not a good neighborhood. It was poor, but they had a tram. They've got like infrastructure that work. Good drainage. It was a town that functioned. Though it was not that beautiful, but we don't still have that in Africa. So we can compete European countries with African countries. Let's just accept that, and which we try to build. We
Right.
can
I
make
mean,
that
that's what
comparison.
that's what happens when you have the World Bank on your back. You know what I'm saying? And and sorry, I forgot what I was about to say. Like and yeah, I agree with everything you said. We as Africans do have an inferiority complex. But about that video, like I'm kind of convinced that that lady was saying a bunch of BS because yeah, Nigeria is cheap, but from my experience, it's not that cheap. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't think you can survive on $100. Maybe 400 would have been a little bit more believable.
No,
I
no,
think you're
not
missing the
survive. I
point.
think
I think you're
she
missing the
she had
overall hi,
she
a
had
black
some
beauty here.
people she had some people
Yeah,
that had to sort her out. Maybe she left her country with $100, but you cannot survive with $100 in Nigeria. She had a crew of
exactly.
people that fed her, spoiled her, did everything for her. Maybe just because she was a white girl, that may be the case, and she lived for free, didn't buy food, didn't do anything. Maybe she had everything for free. You can't live £100 in Nigeria. In Lagos, that's not possible.
Nah.
Yeah. But yeah. Chief, did you have anything to say, or chef?
Um, I mean, to be honest, like I'm not going to uh have sympathy or talk down on anyone. But like you said earlier, everyone has. I mean, in this increasingly globalized world, like everyone has the right to travel wherever they want, including that one including that one Russian lady who went to Nigeria to get some bolo bolo. Probably that's just my hypothesis. Don't take that seriously. And yeah, everyone can travel wherever they want. But here's the thing with me: before you travel anywhere in the world, do some do some research on the damn country. Don't go to a country that's been at war for who knows how many years.
What happens is, can I say something? What happens? Do you know how people get to Ukraine? They have what they call some kind of I don't know. There's some people in the school that talk with the embassy. Then they look for people in those countries who want to come. Then they do everything for you. It's almost like an agent thing. And sometimes you just come and live with student in the hostel. Most of these people, they just want to study. As I said, like being in my country, the competitive exam to be a doctor is really really hard, and it's corrupt again. So you might be the brightest student, but if you've not got some or there's some uncles and aunties who can push you, you're not gonna do it. So some of them, they just see this is the best way for them, like studying in Europe. Africans, when you study in Europe, they think when you come back with your degree, certificate, it's more valuable in Africa. That's why we see things. So some of them, they're just doing things as individual. They want to better up their own private lives. Sometimes I would not really blame them, but if you're going there by yourself, if something happens to you, don't blame your country. You know what I mean? You went there by yourself, so you should. That was your decision. you know. So it's quite different. It's just like it's different. And most of these countries are racist countries, like really, really racist. Everything like the police in Ukraine when I was there, they see you, a black man from afar, they run towards to you and ask you for money. This is really, I'm not like, it's the truth. They ask you for money. If you don't have, they say, okay, give me your watch. It's that bad. I don't know if things have changed this time, but it was that bad. I remember one time they met me in Kiev. Me and my friend, we say we're not gonna give them money, and they say, okay, you don't have money, you're gonna sit in our cars and we're gonna walk together. And we were all night in their cars going around the town just because we didn't give the money till around 5. Then they had to let us go. Who are you going to report to? Nobody. It's that bad.
We're gonna get back to that though. We're gonna let a Black Beauty go ahead. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, how you doing, girl? Um, so yeah, that video was interesting. I got a good chuckle out of it when I watched it the first time, and it was even more funny this time. I think you can travel, where you want, but travel where you're wanted. I feel as Africans, we are always going places that we have no business going and expecting people to help us do things when really all they're looking for is an opportunity to profit off of our tourist dollars, our educational dollars, our stipend, or whatever the case is. I mean, we're going to study in Eastern Europe now. I don't know. I mean, I know I'm from the States, but currently I'm sitting in Lagos. And so at the end of the day, it's like, go home. That's all I have to say to Africans. Go home. The world is getting to be a very dangerous place politically. A lot is going on, and I think it's just a sign of the times that people need to go to their respective corners and be happy. Be happy that you have a continent full of resources to go back to, because nothing grows in Russia, nothing grows in Ukraine. I don't understand why people are fighting to be there, and I don't rate their educational system. So I get if you're coming from, continental Africa and you're going out there because maybe it's cheaper, but relative to all the other degrees that you're getting from the US or you're getting from the UK, that degree is not really opening that many doors for you. Maybe only in Africa, but what degree that can you possibly get from Ukraine that does anything for you outside of the continent of Africa? So I don't understand why take the risk. It makes no sense to me.
I don't know. I guess I don't know. I guess it's just the cost. I have no idea. It's sad, but I really hope this does speak to a lot of Africans that just think nothing is going on. I really hope that we really change some of our attitudes and our behaviors, because this is very embarrassing. This is extremely embarrassing.
Yeah, I think the government, they need to really step in to know who's living, where you're going. Sometimes it may be abuse, human right, but it's hard. It's a hard one. What are you gonna tell them? Don't go, stay. To what? They're gonna ask you questions. So what you want me to do? What do you want me to stay in Nigeria to do? It's hard. It's a hard one. We're not yet at that point where people can live comfortable lives in Africa. People are still struggling. So sometimes we have all these ideas because we're not in Africa. We live in the West. I tell you, when I go home, I see some of my friends. They envy me, but I envy them. They say, "Oh, some of them are doing really good, but they are still ready to abandon everything and move to Europe." It's a kind of a mindset that I don't know if they need some kind of divine intervention to change how they think. I know someone that he was doing good, but he left his country and he's trying to seek asylum in Germany, but he was doing well. He had his houses. I don't understand why. So it's a kind of mindset that I don't know how they need to stand, how you can put it in your head, because you can't tell them anything. If you tell them, they say, okay, why are you not coming back? They say, why are you there if you know that's not that good? So why are you still over there? And sometimes, yeah.
So we're gonna let
Education.
Jesse Gold go ahead. Did you have anything to add to the topic?
Just now, what you just
Greetings,
said.
AM.
I don't know. I mean, I really feel yeah. I don't really feel there's more to add. I really feel that we put ourselves in. Okay, so how about this? I understand if the government doesn't come get you, but we're all watching the same media, right? And I know that media is more limited in Eastern Europe, but you can't tell me, as an African sitting in Ukraine, that 2 weeks ago you didn't think to call one of your family members or somebody to help you get a flight out when the planes were not grounded. I just don't understand. Help me.
True. That is a good question. Why didn't they leave once all these rumors started? I guess they
Yeah.
didn't have
Can you
money.
hear
Who
me?
knows? Yeah, yeah,
AM.
yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Look, with me personally, look, situations are different all over the continent. So it's hard to speak for people from other African countries. Like I don't know, like what's pushing them out, like in such large numbers. But for my own country specifically, like I was watching the news earlier, I saw this thing on social media trending, Africans stuck in Ukraine, so on and so forth, blah blah blah. And I just didn't understand why someone from my country here in South Africa would go to the Ukraine. I mean, like Eastern Europe, everybody knows that Eastern Europe is very racist. Europe in general, but especially Eastern Europe. Why they would go there, of all places, even why they'd even go outside of South Africa at a time like this, I just didn't get it. So for me, it's just something that puzzles me. Why would you want to go to Ukraine of all places? Many of these countries. So even though they few, there's nothing we can do to help them. Like you're on your own when you go into these countries. So I think people must also do research before going to these countries. I mean, like, why would you want to go there? I mean, everybody knows it's racist. Everybody knows Eastern Europeans, and Eastern Europeans are basically like over here in my own country. They're like the lowest of all low in terms of white people. So, like, why they would go there puzzles me. So, for me, I'd advise anybody to do your research before going somewhere. Know the country that you're going into, assess the political climate, because everybody, we've known about this whole Russia Ukraine tensions for a long time. So it's something they could have looked into as well. So do your research and try to stay home if you can, because most countries, from what I'm hearing, like from people, even from South Africans who've traveled, are not African friendly. That's what I've learned. So do your research before going anywhere else. Yeah. Thank you.
No, this is really shocking to me because I never really paid attention to Eastern European media or Eastern European propaganda. I had no idea that they were that racist. I just thought that they were poor, but I didn't know that they were that racist. That's shocking to me. I've never heard about that. I don't know why, but I don't know.
And I
AM.
suspect, you know what I suspect, sis? I suspect it's not necessarily, I'm from New York, but I suspect that it's not that they're necessarily particularly racist, because I understand what you mean when you say you've met a couple of cool Russians or whatever. But what I think and what I believe about most Eastern Europeans is that they put self first. They're going to prioritize themselves over anybody else. And that's something that we should be doing as Africans. Yeah.
That's true.
Look, I hear what you're saying, but like for me personally, like I know people who've been to Russia, who've worked in Russia, and the experiences, most of them were terrible. Like it's not a good.
Yeah.
Sure, you might argue that they put themselves first, which is true, but it's terrible. Like I know people who've
It
been there.
is. It is. It is. It is.
I
It's
bet.
terrible.
I would
It was
agree. I
very
bet. And I don't know anyone over there. I know Russians that don't want to be there. I know Russian people and Eastern European people who would never go back to their country. And if they won't go back, why would I go?
Yeah, I think Africans, we just have this complex when it comes to white people's country. I think we just say any country that has white people is better than our country. I think it's something that is in the mind of, because sometimes the same thing I say Africans going to Dubai, and the work on very terrible conditions. It's just some kind of different kind of I don't know, but they still feel comfortable. I don't understand why, and they could not work in those same conditions in their own home countries, but they'll do it
I mean,
comfortable in someone else's country. I don't understand that.
here in Lagos, I hear people talk about it every day. Young professionals that have friends that are doctors that had to go to Saudi or Dubai to practice because they're not paying them enough as doctors here. So that's an issue as well. People are going and they're getting this education, they're coming back home with it, and there's really no market for their skills.
Yeah, I think this all these things falls back. It lies back to this African, like these African countries. Yeah, I don't know if these people are in sync with your citizens, or those elite class who control these countries are just themselves, and they don't know what is going on with the people they have, because they go to these countries and make these diplomatic deals, and they don't even care how their citizens in those countries are being treated, but they just have this diplomatic privilege, and they're okay. It's just them and the treaties they have with these countries, but they never protect their citizens in those countries. So sometimes I think they're really that they're disconnected. The people and your government, they're not one. And if we don't really have that connection and that link, it's always going to be like this, because people are going to feel frustrated and feel abandoned, and they'll try their best to survive anywhere as they can, because they know they're just on their own. They just need to do what they need to do to survive. And I don't see how you're going to stop someone. Some people are privileged. When I was in Ukraine, you have like really really rich Nigerians children. People not come from really wealthy families. When we're struggling to live in the hostel, they have apartments in town. So those kind of students, when something like war, they're out. But you've got the struggling ones that are just trying to go and do something for themselves and make life better for them. It's gonna really hard for you to tell them, oh, not coming back. I see some people say Nigerians say, oh, I'm not coming back to Nigeria. Yeah, those are those kind of Nigerians. Maybe they've sold land, sold house, sold some properties, send them to Europe, like Eastern Europe. They say they're not coming back. But the ones that are okay, their parents are well off, they have no problem coming back. So it's a complicated situation. Sometimes you blame them, you don't I don't see, the government is not working with the people. I think that's the main what's happening here in Africa.
Okay, but this is the thing: the Africans are not gonna stop going to those countries, right? So what do we do?
You can't. For example, okay, there's no what's the education system in those countries? Why can't they have many medical schools? Just train them, even if they don't have job. Just train them. Make many engineer school. Just train them so that they don't have a reason for going out of their country. because if you just tell them don't go, what are you telling? What's the option? What are you giving them as an option? If you're telling them not to go, present them something so that they can go. But if you just tell them don't leave Africa, don't do nothing, but he looks at his life, he has nothing. He looks at his future. The future is empty. He's going to take a move to make his future better, no matter what everyone is going to say, because he thinks this is my life. It depends on me. My country doesn't care about me. It's going to move.
Right. Right.
That's one thing. So if they can build the make it, okay. Go ahead, Jose.
For me personally, yeah, for me, need from certain countries. I think some people are just going around exploring. Maybe those countries are just easier to go to, and I think some of them miscalculated. I think people need to also do their research. I get that many people go there because they don't trust their own education systems back home, and there's no market for their skills. But for me, in my own country specifically, even though they're very few, the fact that they'd even go there and then start begging other people to please help them get out of a war zone. Look, I think some people have that exploring bug in them. They want to try different things. They want to be in other cultures, see the world, so on and so forth, work in different places. I know people have done that, but I think people also just need to do their research. I mean, Eastern Europe, Asia, the Middle East are known for being anti-Africans, specifically, like I said earlier on. So people need to do their research. You can travel for those who want to travel, and then for those whose countries are let's say they're not in a good condition in terms of the job market for skilled people and for getting good quality education, that's a much harder one. So yeah, it's a difficult one. So,
But how do you feel about Russia? Because last time it seemed like a lot of you guys have a good view about Russia.
okay, you mean South Africans specifically, or just Africans in general?
Yeah, South Africans.
You need to understand is that Russia is seen from a liberation point of view. Many people went to Russia. Many people were trained by the Russians. So many of the liberations were being backed by Russia. Not just in South Africa, but in Southern Africa. I know that for sure. Like the Angolan War, the Mozambican War, and of course the one in Namibia, Canada, Mozambique / Namibia. Many of these movements are actually being backed by Russia and China. So some people, of course, are raised by these people, and they tell them this. Like that's why some people will always have some sort of affinity for Russia and Cuba and China to some level as well. So there's always been that relationship because these are the countries that really aided them a lot and trained them militarily. So yeah. So for me, what do I think about Russia? I think Russia is looking out for Russia. Personally, I have nothing against Russia. Yeah, sure, you might argue what they're doing is wrong, but over the years, I've kind of accepted that that's just the world that we live in. So for me, the thing I've been thinking about as I watch this on TV, especially I was watching CNN like last night before going to bed. As I watch these things, I think like, okay, how are we gonna be prepared for this? Like I'm even thinking of reassembling those nuclear weapons that the apartheid government had. Like finding a way, like how do we do it? And like our weapons manufacturing, hold on, our weapons manufacturing company, like how do we produce more weapons? Like because I'm thinking that this is coming full circle. Sooner or later, there's going to be some sort of battle for this continent. So we need to start preparing. That's what I'm thinking.
I think the sentiment of Russia is because Russia seems like anti-West, and Africans are tired of the West, so they're seeing Russia to be like that partner that we can trade with to give us this technology, this weapon that the West don't want to give us. I think that is the idea in the air, not really because they want Russia. It's just a best of two evils, you know. If Russia can give us all these weapons, these nuclear weapons, teach us how to build it, then good for Russia to come, because we've been with this, we've been trading with Europe and for a long time, and they have been exploiting us. They're doing nothing good to us. But since the anti-Russia, anti-West is like the enemy of my enemy is my friend, you know, something like that. I think that's just what is really happening in Africa. Yeah. But they can still stand up and do the same thing to those African countries.
But do
Yeah.
you think Russia has those
Tribal.
intentions?
Yes.
No, Russia. No, Russia for me sees Africa like everybody else. I think they just see like if you look at like the Cold War, basically, right? Technically, the West was the enemy of what do you call of Africa and many other liberation movements across the world because these are former colonies. So I think that's why many people sided with Russia and Russia was backing them. Russia at the time was the leader of the communist world, so they wanted more people to
Yeah.
become communists. So they had their own ulterior motives, of course, and of course they also want those nice African resources. So them wanting so at the end of the day, you need to accept that Russia itself needs Africa itself, Russia, China, that kind of block. So at the end of the day, people are doing it for themselves. They're doing it for themselves as well. But I get why some people love it, like I explained earlier, love Russia or have some sort of love affair with Russia. But for me, I think it's dangerous to romanticize Russia. I mean, like, I was watching, remember that's a few days ago, that statement that Putin was making, man, that man is evil. So even though I get that that's the world we live in, I'd be careful because,
Yeah, I
like
mean,
I was saying earlier, for me, I'm thinking, how can I bolster my own military? Because like something is coming, I can feel it. Yeah.
I mean, isn't he queuing up nuclear weapons right now? Wasn't that like from a couple hours ago? He put the nuclear weapons on standby or
Yeah, that's what
something
they're saying.
a few hours ago. Yeah.
Well, that
Yeah,
is
like
true.
for
There
me,
actually
I'm
was
trying to
a bit
figure
of
out
a
how can I
relationship.
assemble one.
There was a bit of a
I couldn't
relationship
hear you.
between Russia and Africa. Some African states after independence, they didn't want to deal with US and France and Britain, whatever. So they actually tried to deal with Russia, but then that's where the CIA came in and said, "Oh no, communism shouldn't spread on the continent." So that's a good point. Yeah, there were some actual countries in the 60s that tried to align with Russia, but things didn't really work out. Yeah. I'm wondering what would have happened if they did work out.
Yeah, so anyway, I just think the Africans, I just want to take you back, the African student in those countries, you know, I think the other ones should learn, you know, from the people who are wishing to go to those countries, you know, Poland, Ukraine, Russia, and people even going to Romania. It's crazy. Romania, Estonia, this other one, Latvia. I see people going to those countries. I don't understand, you know, those countries that are they're worse than your countries. You know, your economy is like nothing, but for some reason, just because it's in the West or it's in the East, it's not in Africa, you find them more attractive. You know, it's some kind of I don't know, white supremacists, or I don't know, some kind of misinformation or miseducation that people have got, that we need to take it out from people's mind. And you need to start with the countries. They need to be a system that people can feel comfortable to live in their countries. You know, that's just what I want to say. And we'll not really blame those Ukrainian, those students out there, but they should not blame the government anywhere, because that was your decision
But
to
that
move over there.
but in a lot of the videos that I saw, that's what the students were blaming. They were blaming the Ukrainians.
Well, you know, I can get it. You see, these students, they are paying. You know, they're not Ukrainians, so They pay to live. They pay to live in your country. They pay to study in your country. They bring money in your country. So you should get them out. I think for that reason they have a point. They're not Ukrainians. You can't treat them as Ukrainians at the border, because these people are paying to live in your country. They're like foreigners. But you can't tell them how to treat people. If they don't do it, they didn't do it, but they had to let them out. They had to let them out. They're not part of those countries. Yeah, they're paying. They're bringing so much money in your country. For that reason, you need to give them their respect. You can't treat them
Yeah,
the
but we
same
also need
as
to be.
Ukrainian. Come on, yeah. What
Sorry.
did you say?
What? Yeah, look. For me, I think we also need to be honest. When the brown stuff hits the fan, people are gonna look up for their own. You're gonna be stuck there. I think that's just, as much as I think they're racist, I think they're doing what most countries would do. They just look out for their own citizens, because
No, to me,
there's a
to me, that's
war.
not racism.
Their
It's
own
not really
citizens that need to
racism.
get to safety.
Yeah, but yeah,
They're
it's
just
not
pushing.
racism.
Look,
I
they're
would
just
not
trying to
consider.
protect their own people first.
Yeah, I would not consider that racism. That's
Yeah,
not
go ahead.
racism, because I don't even think they're allowing the Ukrainian men. It's just the women and children. But they had a problem. They didn't allow an African woman and a child. That was just my problem. If they say, okay, no men, just women and children, so check the women and the children. Why didn't you check the African woman and the child? No, that was my problem. Because the men, they don't allow them to go. You stay and fight. So, but I think the African people, or what embassy, diplomatic corps, whatever, should send a train or coach or whatever from the border, from Poland or whatever, to go there and take these people out of the country. If really what they're doing is take them out, if those people can do it. So, but as I said, these people, they need to be evacuated. They're not Ukrainians. They're not. I don't expect, if I have a problem in my country and you've got different foreign nationals, I don't expect them to fight for my country. I'll let them go. So my people fight for my country. It's just the continual undermining of Africans. I don't think if these people were Americans, they would treat them like that. They would let them go. I don't think if
Obviously.
they were if they were Americans, they would not say, no, you're not going. They will give them a pass to go. Do you know what I mean? As Africans, the skin color is just what's selling you out. You can't hide.
True.
Look, okay, but don't you think this is also the consequences of having weak economies and military? Because if many African countries had like stronger militaries and stronger economies, we'd be treated differently. I mean, that's just
That's
a
true.
fact.
We'd be
I think
respected.
The world doesn't work.
stronger.
I don't think it's this, because at the end of the day, if they knew that you could hurt them one way, whether economically or militarily, they would treat you differently. That's just the world we live in.
Of course. Like people treat the Chinese people differently. They'll give the Chinese a pass because when you look at China, it's a powerful economy. So that's true. But African continent is still looked upon as this poor continent. There's people that need help. So there's no respect still for African people. You may be from what part of Africa, but there's no respect out of, people just look at you as someone that needs help. Even Oprah Winfrey in Italy, she was being accused of stealing from the Louis Vuitton shop. And that woman did not realize that was Oprah Winfrey just because she was black. So there's no distinction. Black just means you're poor, you're not rich. You need to tell them, and that is bad. And if this African continent does not change completely, all black people, no matter where you are in the world, you still be looked down as some kind of a low class citizen.
Yeah, but
That's
this is what I
how.
didn't understand. Like, we already know that they don't respect us, so why do we respect them? Like, why are we so nice to them?
I Look, I think misdiagnosing a bit here. Look, at the end of the day, look, you can't really hurt them economically and militarily. That's one. Two,
Right.
you're running to their countries in large numbers. You're always seen as the begging bowl of the world. No one will ever respect you if you like that. So, like, first things first is get some dignity. Like, there has to be a way of building African economies, and of course, becoming stronger militarily. And of course, the white worship also needs to stop. I hear that as well. And I think some sort of like self-esteem, like propaganda against the West is also important.
Yeah,
That's what's
self-esteem
needed.
is really, really big. But you know, the people that have this self-esteem that understand the West in Africa, that population is still really, really small. And these people, they know when they come into Africa, they're not coming to these big cities to compete with you. They just go to the suburbs because they know those people over there are still so ignorant. They'll worship them, you know, they'll do everything around them. They have access to everything, to your children, to everything, you know. They still see them as helpers. And this our leaders to kind of promote that. You know, if you look at these people when they come to European Parliament, they're just smiling, like the happy being with these white people. It's like, oh, okay, I met this white man, I'm great. You can still feel it in their actions. Even though the presidents of African nations, you can see how they look, they feel inferior in front of these people. And these people, they read that energy and they understand. You understand what I mean? So we still have a long way to go. We need, like, I don't know, we need a completely change of mind, or like some dictator that's just gonna force people to change. I don't know, you know. Yeah, because we still feel like, I don't know, our politicians, they still feel inferior to these people, to be honest. Like, to be honest, they give them like the red carpet, you know. Yeah, even in our own country, they don't respect us. You know, they still believe and they know they have power. You know, we give them that privilege. You know, we give them that green light to do whatever they want to do with us, and it's sad. So how do we change it? I think, to me, it's time. If you ask me, it's time. You know, sometimes these Africans who come to the West, they learn. When you come to the West, you face all this racism, all this discrimination. I think when you go back to Africa, you will not be that stupid Africa. You will understand who really the white man is, and your mindset is going to change. And if they keep coming and they face this racism and they go back, gradually the continent is going to be better. You know, because before I left the continent, I think I worshipped the white man. If I saw a white man, I'll give him everything. I'll give him my house to sleep. I had that mentality. I would not deny. But when I went to the West, I live among these people. My mindset is completely different, and it was difficult for me to choose an African to think like me because they don't see it. They've not yet witnessed that. They've not been around these people, so they don't really know who they are. So they just need to witness this thing by themselves and feel different. You know, if you go to my country, people who feel rich, when they see a white man among their friends, they think that's better. They want to hang with the white man because they think, oh, that's class. I have a white man who's my friend. And that may be like a beggar in Europe who, I don't know, just went to Africa, a wretched one, just because he's white, he still gets that treatment, even if he's a nobody. Do you know what I mean? So we still have a long way to go,
Look,
some education, and yeah.
look, don't you think that maybe like we need to look at the causes of why people feel inferior?
The cause
I
of
mean,
what?
look, we need to look at why people look inferior. Like, I mean, not look inferior, feel inferior to Europeans specifically. I mean, like, think about it, right? If you only see white people, right, let's say being like the charity people, giving you stuff, they looked at as rich, as wealthy, and as accomplished, you're gonna feel inferior. And I think part of that is the lack of achievement and progress in many African countries and on the continent. I think that plays a role in it. I think empowering people in your own country is important. Making sure that they don't have to go anywhere else, making sure that they feed themselves in their own country, can make their own money in their own countries and sustain themselves. It could start there. And of course, growing these economies to support skilled people from these countries. I mean, like you're gonna always feel in fear to someone if like you have less money, you're not doing as well, like you can't even afford to feed yourself. They're the ones who basically like to give you aid. And then on top of that, you're gonna try to get to their countries to feed you. The stronger military you get, the basic amenities that you can only dream of. That's kind of mess with your mind. I mean, it comes from somewhere. You need to look at the root cause of it or why it's still there for many people. That's how you could deal with it. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think that is a part of it. I think that's part of the story. But I've known people who are successful, but they still see white people as better. I know a lot, people who are doing well by themselves, but they will still give the white man this super privilege over themselves, even if they're doing better than him. I've seen that, it's a kind of a complex. I don't know, maybe through colonization, I don't know, slavery or what, I think it's how we portray the white man on the TV, it's this clean, nice environment, nice countries, everything is perfect. We still see that. And but what you said, self-esteem, pride, I think that's some of things that African people lack. This, I think African people we lack pride. We don't
Tribal.
we don't take good
I'm
look
gonna use my
of us. I just want to
tribal.
make example. Sometimes, if I look at African presidents, sometimes these people they look wretched as some peasants. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to like call some people's president, but you look at these people, they've got dirty teeth. They just look wretched. You know, if you're president of a country, you can take care of your own self as a human being. You have pride. You want to look good. How can you make your country look good if you don't even see you as your own self to look like presentable in front of people? Do you know what I mean? So I think we need to have pride. Just have pride even for nothing, and keep it.
Look, somebody I need to
Need
add. Look,
pride, but
tribal.
pride is not
I'm gonna
enough.
use myself.
You're gonna need strategy as well.
Yeah. Okay. Look, what I wanted to say is this. I'm gonna use myself as an example. Like, for me, I come from a family where like some people did feel inferior to white people. Like people pass on their, how do I put this, their beliefs to their children. Like they'll say certain things, or the white people this, and unfortunately, I see these things on these panels as well. Like whenever I call in from time to time. But going to a school where there are a lot of white people, a lot of Asians, I realized as a kid, like really early on, that they were not better than me. I
Good.
outperformed them in many ways.
You have that
So for
privilege
me, hold
because
on,
South
hold on.
Africa is different
Let me
dynamic.
finish. Let me
Okay.
finish. Let me finish. Let me finish. I think competing with them killed that. Having people coming from like schools that were not necessarily schools for white people and having those people as well killed that in many ways. So for me, I'm trying to understand. Let's say for like you come from a country where like you don't really have interaction with other races exactly. Why would you feel inferior more? If you get what I'm saying, like because you don't really interact with people from other races. Like if you get what I'm trying to say, we have very little interaction.
Yeah, it's the ones that I think the white man is really aware of his privilege and is trying to maintain that in Africa. I think when they come, they're trying to always give Africans this impression that we are better, we are coming to help you. And sometimes they do things maybe just for like some kind of a camouflage, and they buy the minds of these people. I'll just give an example. One time, I was over here and I had some white people that they were doing this ecotourism, and I showed them like pictures of my village, and they say, "Oh, they're gonna go. They like it. It looks like really natural. They want to go to my village." And I called the chief, and this man was like overwhelmed. Oh, they're white people. Oh, they're coming to the village. And he was trying to rally people up to do things that he would never do as a chief. I had to stop it. I had to say, oh, no, they're not coming anymore, because he was ready to put himself at a very low level. But these people were just ordinary white people, yeah, that are doing 9 to 5 jobs and working in McDonald's. But just because he thinks these are white people, he was able to put down his title as a chief. And when I saw that, I was scared. I just told him, no, something happened, and they're not coming anymore. Because I couldn't imagine. So how will you tell them to stop? You know, how will you tell them that they still have that superior inferiority complex? Sometimes these people come, they have these missionaries or this medicine sanfons, a Peace Corps, don't know, maybe they're coming to have fake vaccine, whatever, test vaccine on these people, and they'll rally up these villages, and they'll even work with maybe some kind of medical organization in those countries, and they say, oh, we're coming to give you vaccinations for free, we're coming to help you. And these people will just give their people to these people to do whatever they want to do with them. And they'll say, oh, I had a white man come and it was my doctor. It's still really bad. Sometimes when I look at it, I don't really know what to do. And these people will continue preying on these people for long as they can't. How do you change it? Give them job, make their life better. So, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know, man. That's a rough one, because for me, like, to address it, you need to find the root cause of it, and how to counter it. Like, do you use some sort of propaganda? Do you have to stop, let's say, like, white people coming into the country and looking like the savior? Would you have to remove some of these movies of white people? I mean, like, China, like, if you look at the countries where people are very, like, how do I put this? Don't feel inferior to other people. There's strong propaganda, including in the movies, to
Yes,
promote
yes.
themselves,
Yeah.
the control of their image, and
China
they
is
make sure
really
that their
fighting it.
image. Hold on, and they make sure that their image is stronger than anybody's image on their television shows, in their music, their posters, everything.
Yeah,
I think for
exactly.
me that plays a role in it as well, because most of the people I come in contact with over here, they've never really interacted with white people, and if they have,
Mm.
it's more like from a charity point of view. So they see white people in that light.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like when I went back home, they had this very popular series. It was Bloody Filipino. It was really, really popular. It was just like really, really light-skinned Filipino women, and it was very popular. All the girls, it was horrible, and it was the most popular show on the TV. And when it was time, everybody was watching to see it. And I tell the people, oh my God, why can't you use Kenyan series, Nigerian series, South African series? But they see nothing wrong with it. And it's from one, if it's not Philippine, it's South Americans, or some kind of European series
Yeah.
about the love, women, men. They keep showing them this image that this is what is correct. And that is showing that on the national television. And it is just disgusting. I saw something last time in Kenya. There was this white man that came, he dressed as Jesus, and they were parading him in their town. That this is Jesus.
I'm play that clip. I saw that too.
That was
It
horrible.
was a
He
white
was
man with
dancing
long
that this
hair,
is
and they were
Jesus.
like, "This is Jesus." I saw
Yeah,
that.
and people were clapping. So how do
Yeah.
you do? It's just horrible. So how
Yeah.
sometimes you just need to get everyone and put them in jail. How can you change something like that? They don't see anything wrong with it. How do you change people who are so ignorant about the rest of the world? I think some Africans, they're still living in this little cocoon that they don't understand how this world functions. And that's why I say it is really, really dangerous for an African to have any post of responsibility in any African country if that person is not exposed to the white man, if he doesn't know how this world is going on, because he's just going to be like a very easy mate for these people to manipulate.
Yeah, we're gonna let someone somewhere go ahead. Thanks for calling in.
Oh, thank you for having me. In regards to this conversation, what I heard so far, I feel like the sister spoke. They had insight into what's going on. But I feel like our people in general, we have a crazy case of naivety. Like we don't understand how geopolitics work. I mean, we think that white ice is colder. Like just because you go into a European nation, that's not necessarily going to increase your standing in the world. I mean, you can get the education and the qualifications that are necessary, but that doesn't mean they're going to hire you or ingratiate you into their nation. I mean, but like the brother said earlier, like if we don't have the infrastructure and education systems that are necessary for our people to thrive, then I mean, you can expect them to flee. But all I ask is, if you're gonna leave, come back, reappropriate those resources that you acquired from abroad and bring them back. Don't stay over there and build those other nations, because those other nations are coming back to your countries and exploiting you.
Exactly.
And yeah, you can play the video.
Oh no, you can go ahead. I
know you
was
can play the
was
video.
playing in
That's
the
all I had to say.
background.
Yeah, that was the worst thing ever, man. You know, and these people were
Can't hear
Yeah,
dancing.
that's
you.
a damn
I've
shame.
never seen this. Wow.
I'm laughing
Okay.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm uncomfortable. Go ahead.
That was heartbreaking. And they took him all over the town, and people, he was blessing people. So, oh God, Kenya.
That's crazy.
I think, what's it called? Dr. K needs to come here and explain this to me.
Did they really think he was Jesus?
Yeah,
No,
some people believe. I don't know.
no, they can't really think that's Jesus. They can't.
No way.
This guy knew exactly what he was doing, man. They put him in the car, you know, parading that Jesus has come to Kenya.
That's crazy.
Oh,
They
God.
better thought it was a joke. They thought it was for real, man.
Jesus, yeah.
Oh God,
So we're
Oh,
gonna
God.
Brandon Alipano.
Oh yeah, now he's here. Brandon's here.
Yeah, Pan-Africanist Strikes Back is here. Yeah, that's Jesus, man.
Look Jesus though. Wow.
Pan-Africanism Strikes Back. Did you have anything to add to the panel?
This is embarrassing.
Yeah, it's a damn shame.
Yeah,
But
this
I
is just
thought
on the
Kenya was
stage.
like
He
a
was
very developed
actually
country,
in town, in the city, in that little city, in a kind of a pickup truck, and like greeting people. People were clapping, you know, like Jesus coming into Nazareth, you know, like crazy.
They have like the palm trees,
Ew,
the palm trees
no.
and everything waiting for you.
I cannot.
Kissing his clothes.
Hey,
Yeah,
can
yeah.
y'all hear me?
This is really embarrassing. Oh my god. This is really bad.
I think that the man beside him he should be autistic. It's not possible.
But yeah. That's enough of that.
Man, that actually is Jesus. That really is Jesus. Y'all tripping. He said
What?
No.
He said that was the
Really?
real Jesus.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Hell
I
no.
think he's just
Are you outside?
he's following the
Yeah,
car.
he in a car.
Yeah,
I cannot hear anything that you're saying.
it's in the car.
He gotta be in the car.
No, the guy is saying black people need help.
Yes.
That's crazy.
That's that. I think there've been horrible things that's going on in African continent that are not on camera. You know, sometimes if I want to roast Africans, I see some people like those people that are trying to roast Africans. They're not doing a good job. I just look at them. No, you don't even do
What
a
do you
good
mean?
job. Because if I want to roast these Africans, you know, the things that Africans do that is just out of. I think the white man himself is gonna be shocked. So there's no possible.
Yeah,
How can you
it's
even do
really
it?
bad, especially the village Africans. It's really bad.
Yeah. I say a chief was ready to abandon his palace for bloody junkie to come and sleep in his palace just because it's a white man. Some kind of do they call them squatters? I don't know. They call people who live from one house to another free. I don't know, squatters or what.
Tribal African, do you think
It's
that we need
homeless.
to speak to some of our governments about this?
What?
Do we need to speak to some of our, bribe some politicians about this, because this is really bad?
Well, this point, what are the politicians? What kind of politicians do we have? We just have like really ignorant and stupid people, you know. And that's what I said. Anyone that has not been out of Africa, has not mingled with white people in Europe, should not be elected in any political post in any African country, because
Nah,
they're
y'all
so.
the ones who be mingling with white people be doing the highest level tricking for white people. All y'all presidents went to school in Europe and the United States, and they're the ones giving the most to whites, making the most concession. I would rather elect a dude from the village, because at least he like, shoot, I mean, white people are cool, but I don't know them like personally. Like, they haven't been to Europe, so they can't they can't long to be white like those guys who like study abroad. Can I say something about the people trying to get on the train, right?
Yeah.
All right. So a lot of people been hitting me up. Oh, you seen the people not being able to get on the train and all that stuff, right? So I was like, I really don't care about those African dudes not being able to get on the train. Oh, the women and children and all this stuff. It's like this, bro. African people go to every country on earth trying to get an education instead of staying in Africa, right? Now, I could understand if you running your ass to like the United States, the UK, Germany, or something like that. But when you run into places like Poland and Ukraine, at that point, you're just desperate to be anywhere but Africa. Because countries like Poland and Ukraine aren't, in my opinion, aren't really that much better or more advanced than Africa. Like, you just trying to be somewhere else at that point. So it's like 400 years or 500 years or 1,000 years of engagement with white folks. Why do black people act surprised when white folks do shit? Like when white folks reveal how they really feel about black people. See, that type of stuff when they're talking about, oh, they wouldn't let any women on the train and all. Well, then why the hell do you got your women and children over there? Because it's like, you can study over there. You don't got to bring your kids and your wife over there. It's because you think that that's a better way of living until shit hits the fan. Listen, the Ukrainians should have put their people on first. You want me to tell you why? Because now one of those little Aussie Africans was about to fight for Ukraine. And that's what the African doesn't understand. No one respects you because you are just going to turn and run when shit gets tough. So they treat you just like what you are, like basically a worthless dependent. That's why you got left behind in Kiev to get blown up by the Russians. Because these Africans are like, yo, we're going to use these white people for what they have to offer. But you don't realize the white man is not dumb. He colonized you. You didn't colonize him. So really, when you think you're using him, he's really using you. And my last point is this. This situation with Ukraine and Russia exposed a lot of like emotional anti-American sentiment on behalf of Africans, right? You got Africans who are mad at me for just telling the unbiased, objective truth about the situation. I really don't give a fuck. I don't really care if Russia win, Ukraine, America, it don't matter to me. The only thing I think about is this. African Americans are willing to invest more money in Africa than even your own father, your own mother, your uncle, or anybody who left Africa talking about they were going to get a better life. We're literally coming to the continent, boots on the ground, investing money when your relatives won't send you shit because all you do is take their money, drink it up on beer, and give it to loose women, right? Or scam your own relatives, right? So when America does bad,
African Americans are doing bad, which means we can't do anything monetarily on the continent. So African people who sit up and cheer against America are stupid because you're cheering against African Americans who at this moment in time are really the only group of black people on earth who really are serious about investing in the continent. And when I say African Americans, I also mean Caribbeans too, because they out this way too. That's a part of the West. Why would you cheer against the country that empowers them to be able to work with you and make investments in your place? How much capital for startups did Nigeria receive from Americans and even African American investors? Billions of dollars, bro. So why would an African be dumb enough to sit up and cheer for Russia against America when Russia ain't doing shit for no African country anywhere? Putin called Africa a graveyard. Like, nigga, people only go there to die. Ain't nobody trying to do nothing in Africa. You look
it said
stupid.
that.
Hold on. You look stupid trying to cheer against America. You look emotional. You look dumb. You look like you have no idea what's going on geopolitically, and you really look like an anti-African traitor to your own race, trying to cheerlead for a bunch of white dudes who don't even give two shits about you. And that's all I want to say.
Yep.
Yeah.
True.
That's.
Okay.
I mean, I see where people are sad with Russia, but I mean, I don't justify sad with Russia. But either way, I mean, it's less of the two evils. If you talking about imperialism in regards to us, Russia don't have really a long history as far as being imperialistic against us. But yeah, I mean,
bro, do you think Russia? Listen, let me tell you something. Let me ask you an honest question. Let's say the United States disappear from the face of the earth right now. Do you think Russia will wait 2 seconds to invade African countries and take everything they got? Right. So when we talk about the history of Russia with Africa, most of that was because the United States worked against Russia to keep Russia from making you guys proxies of the USSR. So you guys basically, so Africans, I'm saying you guys, but you here with me.
Yeah, I know what
so
you're saying.
Africans indirectly benefited from the Cold War. Because if you hadn't had the United States to stand there for you, you would be speaking Russian right now. So stop acting tough like y'all gonna
Brandon,
fight
wait,
again.
hold on.
Wait,
Yeah,
stop acting tough.
Hold
Stop
on,
acting tough.
Brandon.
Real quick, I got one more statement. This is the last sentence. Stop acting tough like if the United States wasn't standing in the gap for you guys would somehow be able to resist colonial influence. Your militaries are extremely weak. 90% of your soldiers are going to run the minute someone starts shooting. I love Africa probably more than some of y'all, but I have to be honest about the geopolitical situation in Africa. You can't fight. You won't fight. So why are you cheering for the country that has even more of an imperialistic view towards the future than America? It
I
makes
don't agree
no
with that.
sense.
I don't agree with
They
that.
will
They don't have
steamroll Africa.
Can I respond to him? Wait, can I respond to him? Look, I hear what Brandon is saying, like why America is important. But like for me in my own country specifically, it's a well-known thing that some CIA agents were actually involved in targeting liberation movements as well. And Russia, even though I understand that they obviously had ulterior motives, they did help out many of the liberation movements. They did supply them with weapons. They did supply them with food, training. They did those things. Should Russia be romanticized? No. But America is also not necessarily our number one hero as well. Like as much as I think America is important, and I get Brandon's point, like it's somewhere in the middle. It's not as simple as like, look, America. I'll agree with Brandon that America right now is more, I'm gonna put this, valuable to a certain extent. But as far as it being of
Yeah, the
Let me
economy.
ask you a question. Let me ask you a quick question to put your little fence straddling thing to bed. How many Africans live in Russia?
I don't know.
Couple of
How
hundred.
many? Wait a minute, guys. Hold on. How many
No, I don't
Africans?
know.
Okay, listen. How
Less
many
than 50.
Africans? Listen. How many Africans dwelling in Russia are right now wholeheartedly set on establishing stronger ties to the continent and investing in the continent monetarily?
Probably none.
Look.
So how is this somewhere?
Hold
So
on.
wait. So how many Africans are in America trying to do that? Even if it was 20, even if it was just 20, that would still say you should err on the side of American interest more than Russian interest.
No,
But
that's
it's way more than that.
But I
No,
don't
that's
see
not the case.
Africans
No.
are not
Hold on.
going
Hold on.
towards the
Hold
side
on.
of Russia. I don't see them doing that. Why do you think they're
Look.
doing that? Why do you
Look.
have that assumption?
Okay, look. For me personally, I can't speak from a point of view of someone who's left the continent because I've never left my own country. For me, I look at it from this way. Like, you look, Brandy, you look at it from a diasporan point of view as someone who's coming into the country, and many of the other Africans who's coming onto the continent, and many other Africans have obviously left the continent. I look at it from this point of view. Someone has never left my country. Look, I think Africa should be more self-sufficient economically, and of course, build up their own militaries. That's something I've been thinking of, especially this whole military thing, since this thing has been happening. So I have more
Let me just.
view of Africa.
Okay, we could talk
Personally,
about the things. We could talk about the things Africa needs to do. We're not talking about that. What we're talking about, bro, is right now today. Right now today, you have a contingent of Africans in America. That's like, let me give you an example because y'all seem like you have a hard time grasping what I'm saying. Imagine if there was one. Imagine me taking Scotland. Imagine me taking Scotland and taking Kenya and being like, in my mind, Kenya and Scotland is about 50-50. I don't really know which one I should support. There's Africans in Kenya. There's no Africans in Scotland.
Brandon.
That doesn't mean I'm going to support the entity as a whole, though.
I'm going to
I'm going to support my people that's in the entity, but I'm not going to support the entity, though.
Well, none of your people are in the opposite entity.
That's what I'm saying.
None of your people are in the other entity.
Yeah, but nobody's saying that's what I'm saying. Nobody's saying that you go for either or. But if I could understand why people from the outside looking in would go for Russia.
Okay, bro. Let me ask you a simple question, bro. Because you guys, we have to stop with the emotional shit. We're mental. If Russia, okay, listen. Yes, it is. If Russia beats up America and takes over America, how do African Americans invest in Africa?
What do you mean? Who's going to say
we won't have the
capital?
That won't. We won't have the capital.
No, that won't.
They're not a communist country anymore, bro.
That won't benefit Africa.
What did you say? Someone.
Look.
They're not. Who's going to say they're not going to still have the same free market economy? They're not a communist country.
See, you don't understand geopolitics. Remember the dollar. If Russia take over America, the dollar becomes worthless. All our money.
The dollar's already worthless. Russia is never going to take over America.
I'm not talking about conspiracies.
It's not a conspiracy. It's fiat.
Bro, you spend this shit every day. Talk about it's worthless. You know how dumb you sound right now?
Bro,
if you
I'm talking about in essence.
Listen, bro, fuck the essence. What did you eat today?
I had some fufu. Make your point, Brandon.
Did you buy those fruits with American dollars?
I said fufu. Yeah, I bought it with American dollars, bro.
Well, shut your light skin ass up, because them dollars is clearly worth something.
Bro, you know what I'm saying, bro.
No, I don't know. I know you being
ignorant. It's fiat currency. The only thing that's back in the United States is the military, bro.
Black people need to stop living in fantasy land.
That's not fantasy land.
African
American. That's not how currency works, and that's not how fiat works.
Man, you guys, listen, bro. Listen,
bro.
Brandon, let me say my last statement, and I won't say nothing. Look,
that's what you're saying.
Nobody who's sitting up spending. Listen, bro. Nobody. Do you know how dumb you sound when you sitting up spending American dollars and then saying they ain't got no value? You literally sound retarded.
Bro, I wasn't literally saying they have any value.
Well, what are you literally saying, brother?
I was literally saying it's fiat. In essence, it doesn't have any value. But of course, because the America's geopolitical standard right now, it has value. But it's not backed by anything. It's really just paper, backed by the United States military.
You don't know how
because
money works.
Nobody can
United
audit
States,
that. Nobody can audit.
United States dollars are backed by debt. Go to YouTube. You're on YouTube. Go use it for
I
what
already
it's
know
for.
it's backed by debt, but I'm saying,
Oh,
of
it's
course,
not
it's backed by
nothing.
debt.
You just said it was backed by nothing.
I did, bro. I said it's backed by the military. Yes, it's backed by the debt, but the debt is nothing because America's in debt right now.
Listen, it don't matter if it's backed by Fruit Loops. It's still the most powerful currency on earth, and everybody
Because of the
on this
military,
panel rather
bro.
have that than anything else.
I'm like, Brandon, this what I'm gonna say.
If China was to audit the U.S. and cash in on the debt, bro, the United States economy would go.
We're not operating based on if we operating based on what happened. The U.S. dollar is the world's reserve currency, meaning every country on earth stabilizes their currency with United States dollars, even Russia. So all this, it ain't worth nothing. Bro, we spend it. Okay, give me everything in your bank account right now then. If it's truly worth nothing, I'll take it. You don't need that. Let me take it off your hands for you. I'll give you some grass or some shit. You can spend that.
Nah,
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
give it to you if you got some land for me to
what
buy.
I was about to say.
Something
to
that actually has real. That's a hard asset that got real value.
Like Brandon, when you're talking about like African Americans coming to invest in Africa, if Africans want to deal with African Americans, they need to deal with America. They can't deal with African America as a separate group. That's something you don't.
You already deal with African Americans as a separate group, bro. America ain't got no agenda to come to Africa and do nothing.
I mean, like, no, that's individuals. You can come, but if we want to deal like a business group, you need to be a group, but you're not that group. You're just American. So there's no different. Like African countries would treat you the same way as a white American coming to invest in Africa. But if you really want,
yes, they will. But how many Russians are coming to invest in Africa? None.
They come with $100.
I don't know. Russia.
No, you know.
The answer is zero. The Central African Republic. I don't know.
That's not entirely true.
Russians are coming. They're doing their own little things. They're investing.
Bruh, listen. You guys sound crazy as hell. Look, when I was in Kenya, right? The United States helped Kenya.
Let me answer your question.
Wait, let me tell you a quick little story. When I was in Kenya, the United States helped the Kenyan military thwart a humongous terrorism operation where these dudes were going to drive a car full of like high-grade explosives into the central business district of Kenya, Nairobi, right? The United States intelligence that's in Kenya was like, there's this dude, he's driving a car. The car has like major bombs inside of it. The Kenyan forces pulled the car over. They were like, we can't find anything. We got to let this guy go. We can't find anything. The United States said, it doesn't matter if you don't find anything. Take that guy to jail. Take that car in for examination. The guy, they literally have put the bombs in the frame of the car, right? This would have killed. If you've ever been to CBD in Nairobi, there's thousands of people down there every day. This would have killed at least 5,000 Kenyans or something like that, because, it'd be packed up in the CBD. The United States intelligence stopped that. You guys talk with no sense of what's really going on. You don't even know what's going on in your own damn country. You don't even know how the United States is helping your country. You just out here watching the news, hating America.
I don't understand your argument. You're trying to make the point that Africans supporting Russia more than America. I don't
that's
see
one of
why
that's a straw man argument.
That's wrong. I don't see why you think that way.
I think Josie Gold wanted to respond. Yeah, go ahead.
Look, for me personally, I get what Brandon is saying to a certain extent, but for me, I don't think it should be 100% America. Both Russia's also.
This dude sound like he
have
love
that
America,
view
bro.
because I was raised by people. Hold on. Like, I have that view because of the family that I come. Some of them were from liberation movements, so they don't always have the best view of America. Do I hate America? No. Do most people hate America? No. Actually, most people like America. That's the truth, whether people like it or not. But there has to be some sort of balance. You can't just have a 100% America is also as evil, not them and their allies. This whole NATO thing, this Western Europe thing. So Russia also has to exist. There has to be a balance because at the end of the day, both of them just want our resources.
Bro, there's
Period.
literally no balance. Russia's not defending Africa from anything at all, China or whatever. What I'm saying is this: you guys, if you look at it and just say,
true.
"Oh, Brandon,"
No, that's not
if
what
you
I'm saying.
look at it, it says,
Brandon.
"Hold on,
Brandon,
wait. Let me say
you're
this.
just going.
Let me say this.
You're going off the
If you
rails.
look
You're
at
going
this
off
and
the
say,
rails. You're going off the rails.
listen, I'm not going off anything. If you look at this and say Brandon just loves America, that has nothing to do with it, bro. This is like my daughter when she was 5 years old. She might say, "Dad, I want to cross the street and go to the store." I'm like, "Baby, I'm gonna walk you. I gotta hold your hand because you're not ready to do that yet." Though she believes she can, in her mind, she's like, "I can do this." That's basically where Africa is. Your countries are just now starting to really develop economically. So when somebody get a little bit of development, they start thinking that they start smelling themselves. They think, "Oh, we can do it on our own." Listen, bro, you will one day be able to do it on your own. That's what we all working towards right now. Are you ready to do that yet? Hell no. So it's all about being realistic. It's called objective truth, unemotional truth. I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't care if America wins. I don't care if Russia wins. But I have to kind of care if America wins, because if America wins, that's better for Africa, because African Americans live in Africa, and a lot of us have a lot of interest in Africa, and we want to do a lot there. Russia, if they win, none of us we pretty much lose everything and we're screwed. So it doesn't take a genius to say, "Well, I'm gonna err on the side where most of my people are." That's like me saying who I want to win in the war, UK or Russia. I want UK to win because I got a bunch of black family over in UK. Like, why the freak would I want those people to then be under the subjection of Russia? You guys are like, "Oh, that white man is a better master than this white man, so I hope he wins." That's
You are
stupid.
literally saying that.
No,
You are literally saying that.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. What I'm saying is that
Yeah,
both of them,
dude, Pan-African,
America and
Pan
Russia. Hold on,
Africanism
let me
strikes
just
back.
make
You
this
are
point
literally
quickly.
saying that one master is
Let
better
me
than
just make
another,
this
bro.
point quickly. Yo, let me just make this point quickly. Look, all I'm saying is this: both Russia and America are not our friends. Sure, you might argue that for you, and you're making a good point, and I agree with you that for you, look, you at the end of the day, you have an American point of view that, hey, look, it'll benefit Africans more for America to do well and for them to win. Personally, I don't want either Russia or America to win. This balance for me suits me for now because I don't trust America either, and I have reasons not to trust America.
Bro,
It's not about hating
capitalism
black Americans.
capitalism is better than communism. Capitalism is better
I
than
agree.
communism.
Well,
Russia's
You
not
guys are
communist
I
looking
anymore,
at
agree, but I
this.
don't
everyone has
trust
got his
America.
own pro and
Russia's not
cons about,
communist anymore, bro.
Russia is communist, bro. How? Okay, let me ask you a question. Someone somewhere.
Brandon,
Wait,
there's
hold,
no
guys,
country in
hold
this
on.
world that practice communism. There is
Yeah.
socialism. It's a different form of
African,
socialism. They just call it
tribal
communism.
African, tribal African. Let me ask you this question, because someone somewhere said Russia is not communist no more. How long has Vladimir Putin been president of Russia?
Maybe like 8 years. I don't know.
20 years.
Well, 20 years. We've got African countries that have been
Wait a
longer than
minute.
that, but it's
Wait
not
a minute.
communism. What's
Okay.
your
Yeah,
point?
well, I
Wait.
mean,
Listen. 20 years. Where are all the people who were the opposition parties who led the opposition parties to Vladimir Putin over the past 20 years?
he
They're
got their
dead
ass
or
up
they're
out
in
of there.
jail.
They're all dead. It's
Brandon,
still
that's
communist.
not communism. That's just
Nah, I'm talking
dictatorship.
about
Bro,
the
That's
bro,
something
structure
listen,
of the
different.
government,
listen.
bro.
Hold on. Wait.
As far as the
Listen,
economy
guys.
and everything.
Listen so you can learn. When everyone who opposes the 20-year president dies from either getting poisoned or shot, that means it is a communist regime Vladimir Putin has said himself, Russia is a communist country. He said that literally yesterday. He's an ex-KGB and said the worst thing that ever happened in the 20th century was
the fall of the
Russia
Soviet
lost the
Union.
Cold War.
That's true. But that is dictatorship. That's tyranny.
He's
That's
a communist.
nothing to do with communism. That's just dictatorship.
Communist, yeah, that's
So
what I'm
you
saying.
guys
You
would prefer?
you conflating two systems, bro.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. That
No,
just
that's
because you have a
that's
dictator
tyranny.
does not necessarily
African
mean you're a
leaders that have
communist
been
country,
way
bro.
better than Putin.
It's economy and
Bro,
all
we're
that.
not. Okay, so you want, this is what I'm trying to tell you. You guys don't realize that you're literally arguing for dictator. You're arguing saying, is a dictator who kills his opposition better than a country
Brandon, no
where
one
at least
said
if you go
backlash.
against the government, you
Brandon,
still
no,
live to see
Brandon,
tomorrow?
Man, you sound crazy,
You're
bro.
exaggerating.
No, I think you're confusing words.
Brandon,
You're
you
mixing
I'm
up
not
with
confusing
words.
anything. Bro, listen. African millennial, I have facts, bro. When you oppose the government in America, you don't die. Donald Trump, everyone hated him. He's still alive. He didn't get poisoned. He didn't get shot. I could go out on the corner and say, fuck America. America ain't shit. I could scream that in the police face. I could still go home and sleep and wake up in the morning. Nothing's going to happen. You can't do that.
If you just talk,
most countries in the West, you can do
let you
that.
try to form an anti-America militia or something, they coming for your ass, and you gonna be in jail. So stop with that bullshit,
bro. That's not true. Someone somewhere, black people talk, bro. The Hebrew Israelites.
If you go and say that you an anti-American militia, and you go and promote that and say I want the fall of America, they will put your ass in
We're
jail.
not talking about militias, bro. If you go to Russia, you could be a damn school teacher. If you say fuck Russia, down with Russia, your ass is going to prison. Period.
Many African countries, you don't say that as well, Brandon. You know that. You don't say that. Those countries are not communist countries.
That's not, bro.
African millennial, can you literally see these dudes arguing for dictatorship and communism, trying to pretend like that it will be the same thing under that system as it is under Western systems? Do you see the hypocrisy in black men?
Nah, bro,
I don't
that's
know what
not
you're talking
hypocrisy,
about.
bro.
What are you talking about?
Over exaggerating.
No,
yeah, you are.
No.
You definitely
No,
was exaggerating this shit, bro.
Bruh, Vladimir Putin has arrested 1,700 of his citizens for protesting against the war in Ukraine. When the Americans protested against the war in Vietnam, people didn't get arrested
They
for
were
that.
shooting motherfuckers, bro.
You can compare American democracy and Russian democracy, two different societies.
What would you rather live under right now, tribal African? American democracy or Russian communism? You tell me right now.
No. Of course, everyone would choose America. American
so what the hell is
democracy.
Nah, that's not necessarily true.
That is not coming. But the point is, Putin is a dictator. That's the point we're making. It's not about communism. He is a dictator first. Maybe Russia might be a communist country. I don't know. But Putin is a tyrant. He's a dictator. That's the point.
Yo, can I make this point? Look,
bro, Vladimir Putin literally said he's a communist. He's a communist country. Now we got a couple black dudes on the internet like, it ain't communist. The damn president of the country just yesterday said it's communist.
Well,
Did someone want to reply to that?
The word communism is just a word.
I can't speak on that because I didn't
socialism.
See it.
If you look, if you see, just wait.
I'm not privy to that information.
Let me just say this point: like the core Russia is USSR. That was the most communist country ever, but it's the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. Communism is just a term, but what they really practice is a different form of hard socialism. You know, I think people fail to understand communism because communism in itself, the way they say it, does not really happen. I think the only country that has been close to communism is Cuba.
Man, I'm not about to argue the semantics of communism. Do you want to be in a country where you can pretty much do whatever you want, spend your money the way you want, go out to other countries and buy what you want and open businesses? Or do you want to live in a country where the government's freaking watching your ass, and if you do anything they don't like, your ass is dead?
Come on, that's a great two question,
bro.
So,
you can't over here, bro. That shit is a lie, bro. Stop with that lie, bro. You propagate lies, bro.
African millennial, can I ask you a question? Would you rather live in Russia or America?
Oh God.
Come on.
That's not an
So
answer
why
to
are we
vacuum though, bro.
why
I
do
would
we
live
have
in South
black
Africa.
men on here? Why do we have black men on here acting like, oh man, they're pretty much the same? Oh man, I don't like either one.
You're not understanding. I think you think we're supporting
Brandon,
Russia.
you
No
over
one on this
exaggerate.
No,
panel
you
is
guys
supporting
are being
Russia.
Nah, he want
typical.
us to
Guys
be
are
on
being
that.
Over exaggerate.
typical.
He want us to
Listen.
be on that American
Brandon,
imperialism,
you
bro.
over exaggerate.
No,
Yes,
I
you do.
don't.
Yes, you do,
You
bro.
over exaggerate.
I want
Be
you
honest
guys to
about the way you want to
recognize.
live.
Listen, I want you guys to recognize that one thing is better is in your better interest than another thing. Not whether you got to be American. Fuck America. I don't care about America. But guess what? To do what we need to do, America pulling the strings is way more favorable to what we need to do. Russia doing that pretty much kills what we need to do. It's just like with Trump and Biden. When Trump was in charge, Trump was like, shit, fuck Africa. He didn't care about Africa at all. That was like, okay, good. That means I can take my ass to Africa. Trump was like, I don't want lockdowns. Guess what that meant? I could get on that plane, go to Africa, buy my land, do what I got to do. Biden come in, oh, we locked down. We might put mandates to fly. You might do it. That hurts my ability to do what I want to do. Therefore, I support the guy who lets me do more of what I want to do. This has nothing to do with emotion.
It's
This has
not
to do with people.
on no side
I'm
is
just
it
trying
emotion,
to
brother.
understand
We've
your
been
point with
said that
making this
we've been said
comparison
it's
with
both evils, bro.
America and Russia and African choosing one over another. I'm trying to understand what's your point. You know, it makes no sense to me because
I think he's trying to make us view the U.S. as more benevolent of a force or entity than Russia, but that's not the case. Neither one of them are good.
Listen, bro, I'm not trying to make you believe nothing. I'm telling you, the country or the entity that allows you to do more of what you want to do when you want to do it is the better option when you're trying to get something done. See, when people ain't doing
no
shit, they
African
don't
is siding with
understand.
Russia, Brandon.
Come on,
No
tribal
Africa
African.
is
One
siding with
second.
Brandon.
Let him finish his bill.
Bro, when you're not doing anything, it really doesn't matter. Everything is equal because it's like, yo, no matter who's president, I'm going to be on the couch, you know, eating corn pops, playing NBA 2K. But when you're trying to do shit, then you say, no, I need this person to be in charge because when this person in charge, I could do more of what I want to do. This is coming from me, a person who flew to Africa 4 times during COVID under Trump. And then a person who had to freaking get who was under fear of having to get vaccinated just to be able to leave the country. So this is a person who got stuck in fucking Germany and had to get snuck into the United States by going to Canada from Germany and then into the United States. You guys don't have my experience. You guys aren't really going anywhere or doing anything, so you don't understand. Everything to you is from the scope of, oh, well, I'm looking at this from the TV.
You don't know. You don't know what I
I'm
do
not
in
even gonna
Africa.
respond
I
to
don't
this
give a
shit.
shit what
You
you're
don't
doing.
know
If you
how
were
I'm
doing
gonna go to
something, you would
Africa.
feel like me.
What?
If you were doing something, you would understand exactly where I'm coming from.
Brandon, I've got a food processing company in my country. What are you talking about?
Listen, bro, you know what's funny, African millennial? I'm gonna talk to you because you got sense. These same punk ass Africans who crying because they can't go to school. Look, an African to be like this. Africa will be like, oh man, the Russian invasion is stopping me from going to school with the white man. But then say, oh, Russia and United States about to say, nigga, how? How? United States ain't over there invading Ukraine, keeping you from going to school to kiss the white man's ass? United States mind their own damn business. How can you say how can you say they're the same when one is, you're literally making this show, this whole show is based on Russia doing some fuck shit that's hurting Africans. And then you're talking about.
We're talking about Africans in Ukraine, their situation. How did they get there? How can they? That's what we're talking about. It was never about Russia treating Africans. It was never about that. You're just making a new topic and talking about it.
Bro, this man act like
I
you
mean, it
can't
doesn't
pull
matter
up
whether it's
the
Ukrainians or
same
Russians,
instances,
honestly.
bro.
It doesn't matter.
True, though.
This shit is literally the same shit as the Cuban Missile Crisis, bro. This shit is
Bro,
no
you
different.
wasn't even alive during the
America does
Cuban
this,
Missile
bro.
Crisis, so don't bring it up.
Bro, there's so many proxy wars and counterintelligence operations that the United States does on the continent to stir up shit, bro. Stop with the bullshit, bro.
So tell
you
me
sound
this.
crazy.
Tell me this, bro. How many Africans
Brando,
had
United
to
States
stop going to school
keep
because
Patrice
of the
Lumumba.
Cuban Missile Crisis?
United States
Bro,
keep
see
Patrice
bro,
Lumumba.
that's bullshit. Like what is that? That's not that don't got shit to do with the price of tea in China, bro.
Bro, yes it does, because
no,
guess
it doesn't.
what? Listen, let me tell you something about the Cuban Missile Crisis. When the Cuban Missile Crisis happened, the United States and Russia were actively involved in the Cold War. They were trying to sabotage each other, and they were going head to head internationally. Just right now, Vladimir Putin pulled this right out of his ass. These countries literally just signed deals to give him billions for these countries literally just signed deals to give him billions for oil. Then he pulls this shit. At least during when the Cuban Missile Crisis happened, there was actual hostility. This dude did this shit during peacetime.
Bro, so it's not, bro.
That's not African people's problem,
see,
bro.
I'm not. I'm finna. All right, bro. You get it. I'm not even finna have this conversation anymore.
You don't got no argument, but a bunch of
no.
Conspiracy
Yes, I
theories.
do, bro. This shit is
You just bring in a different new topic and making an argument all by yourself. That's what you're doing. You're just out of topic. You just bring in some new shit and making an argument about it.
Man, y'all was on here talking about nothing, dude. Then I brought the real facts and y'all got mad.
No, you just brought something completely new. You know,
that's
just
not
took
what
it
happened.
with just
Brandon,
out of
no,
rage.
that's not what happened.
Nobody's getting
the
mad,
topic.
bro.
Just change the topic.
Completely. That's what you did, Brandon.
Just call me Brian.
Nah, he wants us because American
Good
people.
job, Josie, and I agree with everything you said from an ADOS brother in California.
Thank you,
bro.
Brian.
I'm telling y'all, Black Americans. Listen, bro. Black Americans have an emotional attachment or relationship with America that's not based in reality. These people talking about, oh, America needs to fall. Bro, the minute Russia's at the gate, these dudes will be crying and, oh my God, Russia's coming in. You guys, listen to what I'm telling you. 5 years ago, no Black person was saying nothing about Russia. As soon as Hillary Clinton got on stage at her debate with Trump and said Russia is an enemy and attacking American interests, Black people started talking about Russia. Oh, the FBI said this. Remember, wasn't Black people just saying that Trump was a Russian operative and that's why he couldn't be trusted? Now those same Black people talking about, man, America needs to fall, man. Russia, I don't care if they went there. Black people just say shit.
Those are idiots that said that shit, bro.
No, I think
man,
those are idiots that are saying that shit, bro.
Nobody want
nobody on this channel again for the 15th time.
No one is gonna wish for that.
Someone,
speaking
you
in
just said
benefit towards
American
Russia,
money. You just said American money is worthless. Then said you just spent American money, bro.
But that
bro, I'm talking about intrinsic value. Of course, the dollar still has value. It wouldn't be spendable, bro. I was saying intrinsic
value.
That's that you attacking semantics right now, bro. You know what I meant by that shit. As soon as I said fiat currency, you should have knew what I meant by that shit.
Hypocritical thinking.
That's not critical thinking.
Whoa. What are you guys even talking about right now?
Yeah, it's completely something different. Brandon just changed the trajectory of this debate.
Can I just
whatever it was got you a $50 super chat African millennium. So just
Brandon, no one's disagreeing with you. I don't know why you're fighting. No one's really disagreeing with you.
Because
we just have a slightly different. No, but no one's really disagreeing with you.
They say Brandon is off topic, really off topic.
Yeah. No one is saying America should fall.
Nobody's saying
it also wouldn't be my best interest for Russia to fall as well.
I don't give a shit about Russia. I need to keep America going good, so I keep making money and spending it in Africa. That's it.
That's good. That's all what we want to do. Thank you for your support.
Bro, you do know that you can't keep feeding the entity and then expecting that. Never mind, bro. It's pointless. But
yeah, Brandon's trolling. That's true. He was trolling.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna have to go. AM, thank you, and everyone else on the panel in the chat. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, good morning.
Good night, guys.
Yeah, I think
morning.
me too. I'm about to leave, and yeah, we said a lot, but at the end of the day, we need to make Africa comfortable for us so that we don't need to flee and go to other people's country where we're being treated as nothing. We need to work on that now. Make a country comfortable. Yeah.
True. Honestly, honestly, it is getting kind of late. I think the show should just end. Did you have any
All right,
closing?
be smooth. Now I'm good. That's what's funny good though too. Thank you. I appreciate you for having me. Have a great night.
You as well. You as well. So yeah, guys, do you guys have any closing thoughts in the chat section? Any closing statement? The latter part of the live stream was really hilarious. That was hilarious. That was so funny. But I think Brandon's point was if you are championing for US's end, then you're basically being an op because that's counterproductive. I think that was his point, right? But anyways, what do you guys think? What do you guys facts make that American money? Um Oh, okay. So I think Just Call Me Brian is saying that this whole situation is kind of signaling the new world order or the Great Resets. Yeah, the Great Resets happened like well, let's just say it happened 3 years ago with the whole issuing of the pandemic. So and I'll be honest, I don't think the Russia and Ukraine situation is gonna get as bad as the media is saying. Like I get it. Like people have died, people are losing their lives. But if you actually look at the number of casualties, it's not that much. I mean, people haven't really died yet like that. So I definitely think this is completely off topic, right? But I personally think that this is being used as a scapegoat. Like this Russia and Ukraine situation is being used as a distraction, and they're doing something else in the background, something much worse, but they're using this as like the thing to distract us, basically. Yeah. And there's going to be some other distractions as well. We'll just wait and see. Uh I thought though that it would be China and India actually having a kind of a fight before Russia and Ukraine, but that's a complete aside. Someone saying Josie Gold, I like your sense of reality. That's interesting. People usually don't like Josie Gold in the chat section, so I guess today people like Josie Gold. Um, people are upset with Pan Africanism strikes back. Okay, AU needs its own plans and planes, one way ticket, and stuck up in. But the issue here, bro, right? The issue here, bro, is are you saying that because their airport is closed, like it's not operating? So even if AU had its own planes, wouldn't they still need permission from Ukraine to actually land and, take citizens out? I don't know, but I agree with you. Yes, AU. Actually, no, actually disagree with you. Let me take that back. I disagree with you. I don't think AU needs to have its own planes. I think that there needs to be more African countries that have their own airways. So we have Kenya Airways, we have Ethiopia Airlines, we have South Africa Airways. I think Rwanda has their own airways. Ghana used to have their own airways, but guess what? Somebody stole the money, so they had to shut it down. Anyway, I think more African countries should have their own airplanes or airways. I'm not sure about the AU. I'm not too sure about that, but I get your point. I get what you're trying to say. I get your point. I get your point. But if President Buhari really cared, don't you think he would be able to like just get a regular commercial plane and grab up the West Africans from Ukraine. Anyways, listen, I don't know. I don't know what I have no idea what to say about that. Anyways, that's shocking. I'm tired of what are you guys saying? Pan-Africanism strikes back. Brandon, both you and your sidekick Diners need to stick. Oh, dang. This came out of nowhere. Oh my goodness. Just call me Brian. Why are you so upset? Listen, I told you guys Dynast is not my favorite, but he's doing something. He's doing something. So anyways, how much money is Ethiopia making now because of the US embargo? I don't know. Ethiopia seems to be doing well though, from what I've seen. Is Brandon going live? I guess so. If it wasn't for the United States, Zimbabwe wouldn't be a rich country. I need to read up on history. Really? That doesn't. Anyway, I need to verify that. Anyways, can you explain your statement? Black Americans will always be American at the end of the day. A little more. Is the term AAs or BAs? Is there a difference between them? There apparently there actually is a difference between African American and Black American. Um, Black American, I think, is the term that's more. That's the term that they want to be identified as now. I think African American is a problematic term for some of them. So I feel like they're more comfortable with the Black American term, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, the West tricked Putin. Russia shut down the airspace. Oh, do you think do you guys think Putin is evil, or do you guys just think that he's just Russia first at all cost? Because someone was saying that Putin is evil, and I'm just like, ugh, how much more evil is Putin than some of these other leaders? You know, I don't know. I mean, I know Putin doesn't care about me. I don't know. I know Putin doesn't care about my people, but evil, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. It I actually like Russia. I think Russians are kind of crazy, but I like Russia. Russia has a very interesting history, you know, from all the czars. Uh, Tsar Peter was my favorite one. I like Tsar Nicholas as well. And they had just a very interesting history. And then you had the whole USSR, Stalin era. Russia went through a lot. And I don't think that they bounced back economically. Last time I checked, a lot of Russia's still in, you know, abject poverty. So, and their technology sector is not that great, apparently. I don't know. Anyway, Putin is just playing defense. Man, Putin is no more worse than any other Eurasian fort. Exactly. He's Russia first. Exactly. Those Africans stuck in Ukraine knew war was coming. So you're saying the Africans stuck in Ukraine knew that the war is coming, so it's their fault that they're stuck in Ukraine? I know I was kind of hard on the Africans, but at the same time, it's like I have to agree with you on that. I have to agree with you on that. Like, who chooses Russia? With all due respect, Ukraine's a dump. According to their standards, right? I'm saying according to their Western standards, like those countries are kind of not that great. So I guess that's just what you have to deal with when you go to a country that is giving you tuition for like $2,000 a year. You know what I mean? It's just Russians create sturdy spaceships. Russia took the brunt of World War II. I like Putin. I like Putin and okay, said the other time about Afro leaders in the line of going to the West and invest in Africa home is just their burial ground. Yeah. I mean, he didn't say much different from what President Trump did, correct? But we like President Trump, so if it wasn't for Russia, we might not be here. Personally, I'm just saying Russia went through a lot. They did though. Russia did go through a lot. Man, do you know how many people died in Russia? Anyways, Russians have a good technology sector. I mean that Black Americans who lived in America for generations are loyal to America and support the government. Yeah, I mean, wouldn't you support the government of your home country? Russia and Ukraine have a very active space programs. I had no idea. I'm sorry. I had no idea. I don't even know Russia's financial situation right now. Why do you think the term AA? Oh gosh. I don't really like answering these questions because I'm not from that community. So I don't really like answering those questions because I just don't feel comfortable answering those questions. But I'm going to try my best. I need more thoughts on this. Why do you think the term AA is more problematic for some than BA? Well, from what I heard, the term AA is problematic because I guess some don't feel the connection to Africa. So they don't want to be identified with Africa. And I think the other confusing aspect of it is where in Africa do they come from? So I think that's why it's problematic. And then, but if you're looking at it from more of an ADOS perspective, I think the reason why the term is problematic is because then you have Africans, like let's say Ghanaians and Nigerians, who go to America and then they use that term. So it's no longer an ethnical like lineage liner. It's just a term that anyone who's Black uses. And for people who identify as African American as their identity, like their ethnicity, it can be problematic when let's say, non-descendants of Black Americans use that term. It's actually very offensive. So that's one of the reasons why I think they want to change their term to Black American or something else. I don't know. Anyway, is BA a mental disconnector from being African? I would say in some cases, yes, but in other cases, no. It depends. Oh yeah, African Americans have to agree. I think African development and third world development will require Americans to lose power, money, and Black Americans don't want to lose that. I think that, and see, this is where I have to be honest here. I don't think any of us want America to lose power. Because if America loses power, that means America is losing its stability. And especially if we're living in the West, that directly impacts us. That impacts our ways of lives. That impacts so many of our job sectors. So I know some people like to come on here and be like, America's going down, F America. But you don't really mean that, right? Like you don't really want that to happen. But you're saying that the Africa developing means that America has to go down. But so where does China come into play with that rhetoric? But that's a very interesting thought. Maybe somebody should do a live stream on that. Oh, you want America to go down? Jeez. Why do you guys want America to sink? Just curious. If America loses power, that means the monetary system globally will crash, a worldwide depression. I don't think any of us are really ready for that. No. We don't need to go for another 3 hours. It's fine. Yes, everybody needs to go down except Africa. Interesting. Even the Philippines? Even the countries that like have nothing to do with Africa, like they also need to go down? Just asking. So like by your logic, would Pakistan also need to go down? You know, just wondering. Because I feel like if you're saying America needs to go down, that it's not just America, like it's the whole West, really, right? Isn't it like the UK, Australia, Canada, those whole institutions, don't they all need to go down as well? Okay, so Eru Boy is saying the reason why these countries are developed is because ours are underdeveloped. So basically, the equilibrium needs to be balanced. That's an interesting thought. That is true, though. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. That is true. That is true. If America fails, who will take over, China or Russia? Hopefully not China, because yeah, hopefully not China, because China's already doing too much. And China doesn't care about their own people that are not Hans. The people who are not of Han ethnic Han ethnicity, they don't even care about their own ethnic people. So hopefully it's not China, because I don't want to see that. Okay. I don't like Mandarin. I don't like Chinese culture. I don't want that. Just personally speaking. Oh, he's saying especially the Philippines. Is it Scotland? All of that? You just don't care about any of them, right? Okay, so America won't completely collapse because, like Pan Africanism strikes back, stated majority of nations' currencies are tied to the dollar. That's an interesting aspect. Okay. They need to be knocked down a peg, not completely destroyed. What does that mean? Okay, anyway. Anyway, guys, it's getting super late here. So, thanks for being here. I will see you guys the next time. And yeah, if you guys have any suggestions, leave them down in the comment section. And yeah, it was a great live. It got kind of, I wouldn't say that was toxic. It was kind of in between trolling, in between not, but it was an interesting discussion. If you missed the live, watch it from the beginning. And we'll see you guys next week. Hope you guys have a wonderful morning, evening, nights. I'm trying to see if I have a video that I can play as the outro. Okay, whatever. I'll just play some Potter ranking. Hopefully they don't knock down the video. See you guys. Bye.
Potter ranking me there. Easy Bros. What you say?
Savage. Ole, ole. See him still in my heart. Oh, wait. Oh, tumbe. Surely. Check out your my wallet. What day? Me love you very long. Pass me your love like a ping pong. Cause you ring my bell like a ding dong. Oh, cause this love ain't no good trouble, no one. I know the feeling is strong, but you is a bandit. Never love another like. Go tell my friends them that he would die for me. Go tell my mama, go tell my papa that he would die for me. Go tell my friends them that he would die for me. Go tell my mama, go tell my papa that he would die for me.
For so long I've been waiting, waiting for your love and your body, Come take up the money, Pretty baby, I'm a honey, We love you for a very long time. You love me when I get a dime. Me one give, when me give you this, you give me that. Me girl so real, she not a copycat. Baby, wine it like that. Me love it when you giving me like that. Boomba, you are a blessing. You came into my life, no more stressing. Say the smile on your face seems impressing. Everything around you seems interesting. Do re mi fa sol la ti do. Take you anywhere you want go. Teach you everything you need to know. Show you that I love you so. Yali oh. For so long I've been waiting for your love and your body Come take up the money Pretty baby, I'm a honey We love you for a very long time. You love me when I get a dime. Me won't give you anytime. Girl, me won't give you again.
Boy, you know that you drive me insane.
Tell me one take away your pen.
Take it away so I will never be the same.
Sugar, your fire can cool.
T.O. Savage is good for your soul.
Pattern and king is a ruler.
And I could be your one and only Queen Sheba.
But tell me how because you're Paulina. Go ahead, I'm in Angelina. Go ahead, I'm about to stamina. Give me love for you, then in a Medina. Take you down to Medina. Waiting for your love and your body, Come take up the money, Pretty baby, I'm a honey, We love you for a very long time. You love me when I get a dime. Me won't give you anytime. Yeah, baby, you don't know if me love you so much. Me want to take you every day to the church. Love you from the bottom of my heart. The end to the start. You don't know what the ranking me there. What the ranking me there. Go tell them me say that. Me say that. Easy bro.